break. 'Cause you found violence and hope, and now you're trying to stay afloat. You found comfort and fear, and now you're running out of air. Air, 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 air. Their rapture owns you. Take them down with you and wreck it all, wreck it all. 'Cause you're just a poor fool, the world's against you. So wreck it all, wreck it all. When you're all in tears, I wonder if you repent. 'Cause you found violence and hope, and now you're trying to stay afloat. You found comfort and fear, and now you're running out of air. Air, 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 You found violence and hope, and now you're trying to stay afloat. You found comfort and fear, and now you're running out of I lost my mind in just a second, but the scars may stay for life. Before a single breath was taken, I knew I had
Oh,
them
that's it loud.
by my side. See, I heard the hand that fed me. Still, it never let me go. When I was miles away from comfort, oh, I never once grew cold. When there's no one there to help you, when there's no one there to guide you home, this coat of arms will keep me warm. And I've worn this crest since I was born. And in my chest, I know I've got their stones. Because blood ties can't be torn. We converse in many tongues, but you still don't talk to me. If you were stuck in a blizzard,
are washed, so we had to take charge and grow up. Back then they were never showing love. Search them up, they ain't showing up. I could never cope with tugs, car low-key, they never wanna know what's up. Just rolling funds, O's and snubs. Couldn't care less about hope and love. Ain't no one ever put me on. Cop the work, chop the work, no guidance. Who inspired us? Bunch of rappers and violent nihilists. From young we protected our pride like a lioness. With our naive piousness, dropped a few out, brought a few in, and formed the family with the finalists. And it's hard to say where it started, but it's easy to point out it started somewhere. And I know it's unclear why life's been unfair. I'm here still striving, trying till I've gone clear from here, and I won't stop till I'm top tier. Can someone bring the bell? I'm getting off here. All the OGs are washed, so we had to take charge and grow up. Back then they were never showing love. Search them up, they ain't showing up. I can never cope with tugs, car low-key, they never wanna know what's up. Just road and funds, O's and snubs. Couldn't care less about hope and love. If we're both on roads with no hope, then no, I ain't finna jump off with you nerds. My spirit's a true curse, questioning myself like when will you learn? We drill every box we tick it, but no box get a ticket. Gee, I got a P1 but I can't take it. Bring me the change in exchange for this ticket. We be in the burbs, no blocks. Dubs got loud, I ain't running no crops. Glad that I ain't gotta swerve no cops. Kinda pen ain't something that I wanna know of. We be in the burbs, no flats. Folks got loud, I ain't running no packs. Glad that I ain't gotta serve no cats. Current roads ain't something that I wanna romance. All the OGs Faces are washed, so we had to take charge and grow up. Back then they were never showing love. Search them up, they ain't showing up. I can never cope with tugs, car low key, they never wanna know what's up. Just rolling funds, O's and snugs. Couldn't care less about hope and love.
There we go, man. What's up, y'all? What up, man? Y'all don't mind me, man. I have, I'm not gonna lie. I got a bad habit of, let me, hold on, before I even get into the conversation, I gotta make sure y'all can even hear me. Oh yeah, y'all can hear me. It sounds like y'all hear me just fine. I think I can turn it up just a little bit more. I don't know, it might get a little distorted. Man, I just got a fucking headache out of nowhere. Whew. Maybe I need some caffeine in my system or something. Hopefully this motherfucking pop got some caffeine in it and shit. This some pop my wife bought from some grocery store out here and shit. This motherfucker, the name of this motherfucker say Dr. Choice. I guess they say, man, you choose whatever the fuck you want to call this bitch. It's pop, nigga. I know that title say Project MK Ultra, but I streamed that shit my last 2 streams. So if that's what you're interested in listening to or getting informed about, you might want to go check out the past streams, because I'm not talking about Project MK Ultra. I just wasn't really planning on streaming or nothing, or should I say wasn't planning on streaming about nothing serious tonight. You know, I'm actually getting ready to go jump on Xbox and play that motherfucking Off the Grid. Yeah, I kind of like that shit, especially seeing how I'm locked out of my I'm locked out of my Game Pass account at the moment. Well, I'm not totally locked out, but I can't redeem my rewards, which is how I'm pay for my motherfucking Game Pass Ultimate. So I gotta wait like 30 days while my security information update before I can jump back on and play Black Ops 6 again. So I've been checking out that Off the Grid. I played like 2 or 3 matches yesterday, and it ain't bad. It ain't bad, I gotta be honest. It's a lot of shit that I don't understand. I really don't understand nothing in that game so far. But I know how to pointing and shooting motherfucker. I understand that part, so I'm fairly, it wasn't a bad experience yesterday when I tried it out. I've been checking that out, and I also been checking out Armor Reforger. Now that one is a little bit more difficult because you gotta, that shit is very realistic and shit. You know, it ain't a lot of auto assist with a lot of shit and situations in that game. And plus you gotta have like, man, it's like an open map and shit. So when you roll up in these spots, man, if you ain't got no teammates, boy, you'll roll up in the spot and you just get fired up and shit. It's like, it's kind of like, it's like the GTA 6, the GTA 5. It's like the GTA of, you know, it's like the GTA Online of military games. That's what it is. But other than that, man, what's been going on with y'all? I really was just gonna jump on here and chit chat with y'all a little bit, cause I'm in a pretty good mood, man. I had a good conversation with a relative of mine and shit, and in that conversation, I was kind of able to unload a little bit. You know what I mean? Really vent and shit. So, you know, I kind of woke up today with a little bit lighter, strut. You know what I mean? You know, a little bit of weight up off my shoulders and shit, because, man, just like anybody else, man, I be going through shit, and especially right now while I'm amongst the unemployed. shit really be uptight and shit, man. You know, I be all my battles for the most part are mental and shit. You know, and I be explaining shit, trying to tell my wife and shit, man, how I have to fight not getting down on myself. You know what I'm saying? I have to fight not getting depressed and shit because, you know, I'm a super traditional man. Shit, don't matter how much money I might ever have in my life, I'm always gonna work in some form of fashion. I always got to be that provider. That, you know what I mean? And shit, being unemployed, boy, that shit'll get you. So, man, I be having to wake up, man, go to the bathroom in the mirror and have a motherfucking pep talk with myself and shit, nigga. Stab myself in the motherfucking, man. You that dude. You know, I be having to reassure myself and shit sometimes and shit, man, just to make sure I don't never let my head get too low. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm one of them motherfuckers who I believe that every man, if he's going to be a great man, especially for his family and shit, he has to have the ultimate confidence in himself. If you don't believe in yourself, motherfucker, who will? If you don't believe in yourself, how the fuck you gonna make it? I don't understand this shit. So I'm one of them people, man. No matter what room I walk in, I tell you, I feel like I'm the baddest motherfucker in there. And that ain't about being tough and shit. You ain't gotta be tough and shit to be the baddest motherfucker in there. On the real, the last thing I'm ever thinking about with a motherfucker is tough shit. You know. And that shit is just about knowing who you are. When you know who you are, especially when you had some experiences in this life and shit, you know, no matter what comes your way, you can conquer that shit because you can conquer everything else that done came your way. That's how I look at everything and shit. Anything that come my way and shit. People think I be bullshit, man. I got the utmost confidence in myself to be able to complete any task. I think that any task set before me, not only can I do that shit, but I think that I can do that shit better than the average motherfucker. I think I'm the shit. You know what I mean? And like I was saying, man, you know, shit, when a nigga not in his traditional role as the breadwinner, which I haven't been in, man, for a little second. I don't want to tell y'all too much of my business, but I've been unemployed longer than I like. How about that? You know, at first it was like a little vacation. Now this shit, like, man, I'm damn near ready to just go walk into some business and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna work for y'all niggas for free today. I work here now, niggas. That's what be killing me when I be going to these little goofy ass groups, or just comments on the internet and shit. Especially when they be like race based, and then you get the white boys who repeat the same old like bullshit stereotypes from the 70s and shit. I guess some of the shit don't be stereotypes because I swear this generation of black folks, they doing their best to live up to every fucked up stereotype and shit. Only shit on real, every one of them and shit. Only thing I ain't seen yet is a motherfucker just live on TV just smashing a watermelon or some shit. But outside of that, man, these niggas today, boy, they living up to everyone. Every stereotype. They got like, god damn, nigga. So you be, man, as a upstanding representative of the Negro community, specifically the niggas. You know, I don't do too well with them African Americans. The FBAs, they cool and shit, but really, any motherfuckers who be wanting to get themselves a title and all that shit, I don't be having time for none of that shit. In my mind, I'd be like, all right, yeah, nigga, whatever you call yourself. The moment you give for my melanated people, the moment you give yourself one of them titles and shit that y'all be calling y'allself, automatically, you separated from me. On the real. As soon as you come with a title and shit, no matter what that is, shit. Like my brother, my brother like a Hebrew Israelite, but he not a Hebrew Israelite. But it's hard to explain and shit. But I was trying to say this to exclude him, not talking about my brother, but like them Hebrew Israelite niggas. Like if you come to me telling me you a Hebrew Israelite, it's like, all right, nigga, you go ahead and be that and shit. Nigga. You telling me you a 6% set this or 1%, 3%? It's like, oh, okay, nigga, well, go ahead and be that with them, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Once you put a title in front of your motherfucking name, it's like, dog, you separated from me, because I don't want to be affiliated. I won't say I don't want to be affiliated, but I know I don't want to be a part of none of that shit. None of this sucker ass shit. None of this shit. If I'm going to be a part of anything nowadays, it's got to be some new shit. I'm tired of the same old sorry ass shit. I'm tired of people repeating and talking about the same old dumb ass shit. Like the world is just plastic and just evil and bad and shit. Like I'm out here, man. I'm searching out. I'm out here looking for love and kind people and shit. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Y'all be out here like y'all be looking for all the tough motherfuckers and all the violent motherfuckers. Like, nigga, why? Shit, on the real. Take me to the motherfucking place where don't nobody fight, don't nobody argue, don't nobody do. Everybody just mind their business and love each other. Everybody share, smile and shit. It's like, man, grown-ups done forgot all the shit that they learned as a motherfucking kid. That's what it is. I think a whole lot of you motherfuckers, you ain't had childhoods and shit. So a lot of you ain't got no goodness inside of your heart and your soul to like fall back on. I think a lot of y'all foundation fucked up and shit. Yeah. Cause man, no matter how evil a motherfucker might think I am, or how mean or whatever a motherfucker could think of me, boy, I'm here to tell you, boy, there's a baby in here. In my soul, man, my soul is a pure soul. For real, I'm made out of love. I ain't made out of hatred. I ain't made out of no tough shit. I ain't made out of fire or dynamite or whatever the fuck you motherfuckers be talking about y'all is. Hell no, nigga, I'm made out of the love of God. For real, so that's my natural element. It's like nowadays, everybody want to be the worst shit. Everybody, motherfucker, I'm a demon and I'm a this and I'm a that. I ain't gonna lie, some of you I believe you, but for the most part, the 99.9% of you motherfuckers, fuck boy, you ain't none of that shit. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Don't nobody believe you, Larry. You ain't no motherfucking demon. Larry, I remember when you used to eat your booger. Shut your ass up. And go hug some motherfucking body. Everybody tough nowadays. I swear to God, if you a nigga on the internet that's tough all the time, it's guaranteed I ain't fucking with you. I don't give a fuck if I've been knowing your ass 20, 30, 40 years on the real. Don't nobody want to be around that shit. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. Tough shit all the time. Niggas be typing tough to me all the time and shit. I used to just engage with them. And send them open invitations and shit. Send their ass that Addy. What's up? Come show me what you talking about, you bitch. Cause I'm retarded like that. I used to do dumb shit like that, but nowadays, man, motherfucker type tough shit to me, I just let his ass know. Boy, I laugh at your ass. Boy, nobody believe you. Don't no motherfucking killer type to the nigga he gonna kill. Get your ass out of here. On real. So stupid ass out of here. And shut the fuck up before I take this shit to the police. Bitch. On real. You little punk ass niggas. They typing tough in the motherfucker. Boy, don't you know I shoot your grandmama in her eye with a slingshot? On real. I ain't no killer. I'm a lesson teacher. I'm a teacher, nigga. I'm an instructor. I teach motherfuckers lessons. On real. I main one of your motherfucking kids for life. And you will have to look at that shit, not me. On real. Run up on your granny, shoot her ass in the mouth with a marble from a slingshot. On real. Fuck that shit up. And tell her ass on real. That was for Daryl. On real. Let her ass know, nigga. That was for. Make sure she know it was your fault, nigga. Daryl was fucking with me. He was threatening my kids. Y'all niggas nowadays, y'all be. I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know if human beings like love each other no more. Not the majority of us and shit. I love all y'all ass. I love all the mean ones, the bad ones, the evil ones and shit. Don't get me wrong. I think all you evil motherfuckers, the ones who like take lives and shit, I think all you motherfuckers need to be exterminated and cleansed from the earth. But believe me, I think it should be done in godly fashion. But yeah, I love you still. I just know that you ain't right for this life, nigga. Yeah. I was telling a couple fellas the other day and shit. One of them I had a past beef with and shit, but you know, it was some shit that we had reconciled. And I let a motherfucker know and shit. I'm like, man, bro, no matter what we get into it about, how many times we get into it, nigga, if you ain't brought no motherfucking harm to me or my motherfucking like wife and kids, dog, you ain't never gotta worry about me trying to take your motherfucking life, nigga. Your life is worth more than any of these dumbass arguments, any dumb pride, any egos, any of that shit. And that go for every motherfucking human life that walks this earth, shit. Even non-human life. Shit, there's animals that it's like, man, I don't know, man. Y'all motherfuckers are like anti-God. And it's like, motherfuckers don't see it because we got so comfortable in this lifestyle that we live and shit. So it's like we don't even see how far away from God we is, how far away from life we are, how anti-life we are. Man, just think about just this past election cycle. You had bitches out here like fighting as hard as they ever fought in their motherfucking life for the right to kill their motherfucking babies. Not for the opposite, just to have that right to kill their babies. And the average motherfucking woman never takes the time to find out like where abortions even come from, whatever happens to these motherfucking aborted fetuses and babies and shit after you done shit. It's like, man, y'all don't know y'all dancing with the goddamn devil. You dancing with the devil, and no matter what, man, he always gonna have the hottest moves and shit. I just sit back and it be sad, man. I just sit back and I watch humanity just man. Fall and fall and fall. Fall and fall and fall. I've seen, in my eyes, like humanity as a whole has fallen out of the grace of God. On the real. It wouldn't be surprising to me at all if we experienced a fucking life-ending catastrophe on this planet and shit, is because, like, look at us, dog. Look at us, dog. Evil runs everything in our life and shit. And the sad part is, it's like the motherfuckers who know that it ain't enough of them to do anything about it, and the ones who don't know, shit, they'll kill your ass for even speaking out against it. You try to tell a motherfucker that they've been tricked and manipulated or something, boy, motherfucker hate you. Motherfuckers don't want to be wise. Motherfuckers don't want knowledge of their abuse. That's why y'all think that America reacted to Elon finding that money. How dare him show him how the government been ripping them off. These motherfuckers want to be stupid. Most of society want to be stupid. I bet a lot of y'all wondering why I got that picture up there with Lucian Grange and Kendrick in that motherfucking dress showing off them hips. Cause that's Lucian new girl. Yeah, he done with Drake. Drake done swallowed his last load over there at UMG. He done fucked up. Suing them and shit. Kendrick is Lucian new boo. That's his bitch now. And you motherfuckers were doing all that hooting and hollering over the motherfucking past year or whatever when Kendrick and Drake was going at it. Y'all act like Kendrick was y'all, I swear to God, y'all was acting like that nigga was Malcolm X and his bitch and shit. I'm just sitting back like, nigga, they both on the same label. They both do the same shit. One just do it way better than the other one. That's the only difference between Kendrick and Drake. I don't know why motherfuckers thought this nigga Kendrick was the new the new Messiah, the next coming. It's like, boy, don't y'all know? He ain't talking shit about Drake because he despises all that shit. No, he talking shit to Drake because he wants that spot. Y'all niggas thought y'all had y'all a new Tupac or something. Well, that's Lucian, bitch. I keep telling y'all, all them entertaining niggas is boys. Those are yes sir, no sir ass niggas. Yes sir, no sir ass niggas. Them ain't no motherfucking heroes. An entertainer is a bout nigga. He don't say what he want to say. He say what they tell him to say. What massa tell him to say. That's why they always feeding y'all that dumb nigga slavery shit. Always getting y'all to fight with white folks and shit. They want to keep you motherfuckers thinking that you're weak and stupid. Which y'all kind of stupid as shit because it's 2025 and you niggas be talking about civil rights and slavery and all and oppression and shit. And I just be like God damn, nigga, what kind of niggas are y'all? Cause I ain't oppressed, dog. I walk in godly form. Godly form. I'm the shit. I am God in the flesh. But any motherfucker that ain't know I am God in the flesh, nigga. I was made in his image. On the real. Motherfuckers be talking about, man, you think you God's gift to the world? No, I don't, bitch. I know I'm God's gift to the world. On the real. Fuck you, man, shit. No, I don't think that shit. Y'all, you think it. I know it. But let's look inside my photo thing for a minute. See what I've been, so y'all can see what I've been looking at all motherfucking day. What I've been doing. I gotta close this though. Well, that one. This my wife when she was young. My baby was so cute. Look at my baby. My baby been fine all her life. Oh, look at my boo thing. That's my boo thing right there. Even in her old age and getting on my motherfucking nerves, cause that bitch get on my nerves. But I love her. This video be cracking me up. This ain't a new video, man, but it just always cracked me up for some reason. Oh, you can't hear that shit because of the music. I gotta shut the music on. Down. Gotta go Chrome. Alright. Now I can go back to that shit. What was I doing? Oh yeah. I know a whole lot of y'all probably seen this before, but it don't matter. You gotta get up. I still can't even hear that shit. That shit pissed me off. Oh, I could turn that up. That's why. It's a lot of shit I gotta figure out. I be having to change shit around here so much. But like I said, I think everybody that's seen this motherfucking video before. I just find it funny as fuck. And I won't stop till I know y'all heard it. Oh, excuse me. And I know what's crazy. I think why that video is so funny to me is because I know a kid that looked and talked just like this guy. I would damn near think it was him if I didn't know better. He's a good kid though. You know, he got his issues like everybody and shit, but good kid still the same. Y'all see all these different renderings. Can't really show y'all that stuff that I'm scrolling by because a lot of it got to do with projects that I'm still working on at the moment. It's me and my big baby. This was years ago, boy. Me and my biggest baby. Daddy baby. She grown now. Growing up right in front of my motherfucking eyes. Right in front of my eyes, man. High school now. Life is something. Y'all seen this video with these parents talking about their retarded kids? Like, who give a fuck anyway? You know what? I'm finna watch, y'all can stay tuned if y'all want to or not. Who gives a fuck? I'm finna watch In Living Color. I'm watching Living Color right here, and I'm going to play my game. That's really what I should do, just get off the internet and go get it in on off the grid. Look at them cheeks. That motherfucker say, who's hungry? Yeah, I'm starving. That's just wrong. Oh my God. Ain't no way in hell I could ever be racist with cheeks out here in the world like that. Let me stop though before my wife beat me up. Man, what the fuck is my video? Where In Living Color at? Hide from me? I think I'm coming upon it. I got all that shit because I be doing videos and shit for motherfuckers, and I never be erasing the content or putting it in their own little file. I gotta get organized soon. Man, where the fuck is these videos at? Oh, hey, it's coming up next. In Living Color. God damn, I thought they was coming up. Did I pass anything? I hope I ain't erased them bitches. I've been deleting a lot of shit lately. I've been getting in that mood too. I'm one of the people where like, man, I get in the mood and I'll throw anything away. I'll delete anything. Like, I think I didn't erase them bitch. I bet I have. I was getting all my shit together today so I can go out and record some of these man on the street videos. Yes, I still do man on the street content. Where the fuck is that shit at? In Living Color. That's fucked up. Thought I was gonna watch the movie though. Yeah, looking like I didn't erase that shit. Pretty sure I got it in my file somewhere. Yeah, that's out here. Oh, if I do got it in my file, it's probably ain't on here. Damn, man. Shit. Like this song. Okay, no fun shit. I don't see no way. What happened to it? Well, I guess we won't be look at that living color. Somebody. When you need somebody. Well, folks, I guess it's time for me to you know what I'm just cause this motherfucker's actually viewing this shit, I'm gonna stream. I'm gonna stream some weird shit. Yeah, we'll do MK Ultra, fuck it. I was finna start streaming that Project Paperclip, but I actually when I do stream it, I want to stream it the right way. So here y'all go.
This is Audible.
Project MK Ultra, The history of the CIA's controversial human experimentation program by Charles River Editors, narrated by Colin Fluxman. Introduction. The target of this brain warfare is the minds of men, both on a collective and on an individual basis. Its aim is to condition the mind so that it no longer reacts on a free will or rational basis, but responds to impulses implanted from outside. The Soviets are now using brain perversion techniques as one of their main weapons in preempting the Cold War. Some of these techniques are so subtle and so abhorrent to our way of life that we have recoiled from facing up to them. CIA Director Allen Dulles, 1953. The medical trials at Nuremberg in 1947 deeply impressed upon the world that experimentation with unknowing human subjects is morally and legally unacceptable. The United States Military Tribunal established the Nuremberg Code as a standard against which to judge German scientists who experimented with human subjects. In defiance of this principle, military intelligence officials began surreptitiously testing chemical and biological materials, including LSD. U.S. Supreme Court Justice William Brennan. Since the early days of human warfare, which may date back to the Stone Age, combatants have sought to gain an advantage through the acquisition of secret information. With the growth of technology, a parallel advantage was sought through the application of numerous types of torture. In the 19th century, the concept of manipulation was added to military tactics in an attempt to influence the minds of assassins, double agents, and world leaders alike, to act against their natures. Given the incredible advances in technology brought about by global warfare, the years immediately after World War II would bring about the most extensive formal study of the many procedures by which this effect could be accomplished. In America, studies drawn from enemy experts from the recent war introduced mass testing into the general population and further diminished the oversight through sanctioned government research, particularly the military. Under threat from world powers, real or imagined, the greatest abuse of psychology ever known in the West would be led by a legion of medical officials riding a wave of paranoia. Stopping it was unthinkably unpatriotic, and keeping its abuses hidden was a matter of cooperation at every level of government. The push to develop torture and manipulation techniques was driven by an exaggerated fear propagated by the American military and national press of mind control. American officials believed that Soviet, Chinese, and North Korean communists had reached the holy grail of mental warfare, and that the United States must follow suit or be left behind. In time, the transformation of brainwashing from a system of coercive propaganda to a secret program of human enslavement reflected cultural demands placed on the idea by the Korean War and was preceded by interest in electromagnetics. To the embarrassment of many Americans, 5,000 of the 7,200 American POWs in North Korea signed confessions and petitions to end the war. Most recanted their actions once free, but many did not, and some refused to return to their homeland. In the end, the peak of the American experimental regimen on unwitting humans grew to vast proportions and splintered into a myriad of disciplines by the mid-20th century. The program came to be known as MK Ultra after several early incarnations, and to this day, the name has become synonymous with controversy, even as the program's experiments and results remain relatively mysterious. Predecessors. In the 1940s, the US government spent $2 million on electronics with the aim of creating a ray apparatus to kill unshielded humans at 5 to 10 miles. The claim made at that time was that an auto engine could be stopped at a distance by tuned waves, a ludicrous assertion that never truly had scientific support to back it up. However, as noted by writer Edward Hunter, who later testified before a Senate subcommittee about the phenomenon of false confessions, a man who has been deprived of convictions and standards will accept a quack faith. Ironically, the prototypes of such theories and technological programs in America were bolstered by the importation of scientists from Nazi Germany. After the last shots of World War II were fired, and the process of rebuilding Germany and Europe began, the Western Allies and the Soviet Union each tried to obtain the services of the Third Reich's leading scientists, especially those involved in rocketry, missile technology, and aerospace research. Along with scooping up Nazi personnel, the Combined Intelligence Objective Subcommittee confiscated war-related documents and materials while interrogating scientists at German research facilities seized by the Allies. The Ossenberg List, a catalogue of scientists and engineers who had worked for the Third Reich, was discovered in a toilet at Bonn University.
At the very least.
Overnight, men with doctorates were liberated from KP duty. Masters of Science were recalled from orderly service. Mathematicians were hauled out of bakeries, and precision mechanics ceased to be truck drivers. Naturally, this was a delicate affair due to the fact that many of the German scientists were not only active Nazis, but had helped the Nazi war machine terrorize the world. At the same time, by the late war period, the Anglo-American Allies formed a clear picture of the Soviet state. Though forced to ally with the USSR's dictator, Joseph Stalin, the West came to understand Communist Russia represented yet another hungry totalitarian power, and thus a very real threat to an independent Europe. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill realized the menacing character of the Soviets from the Katyn forest massacre of Polish army officers, if not before, while the Americans only gradually shed a naive assumption of continued Russian friendliness after the war. For their part, the Soviets retained ruthless imperial ambitions, which manifested in various ways. They allied with Hitler for a time in 1939 to 1941, planning to divide Eastern Europe between their two expansionist states. They devastated the Ukrainian population with the Holodomor, an engineered genocidal famine which claimed perhaps 3 million victims. The Soviet refusal to evacuate Eastern Europe following the war, instead retaining many formerly democratic countries as vassal states, spoke volumes about their intentions. Both the Western Allies and the Soviets knew of Adolf Hitler's V-2 rocket program, the forerunner of ballistic missiles and the space race. Each recognized the immense strategic value of these technologies and wished to secure their benefits for themselves. As the Soviets contemplated additional expansion following the Great Patriotic War, and the US military came to understand the putative allies of today would emerge as the enemies of tomorrow, the men possessing knowledge of the V-2 rockets and other Third Reich military technology programs became seen as crucial pieces in the incipient standoff between NATO and the Soviet bloc. The result was the American-led Operation Paperclip on the western side, which resulted in German scientists putting their expertise at the disposal of the US and other NATO members. Operation Paperclip aimed not only to obtain the benefits of German scientific advances for the United States, but also to deny them to the potentially hostile Soviets. As General Leslie Groves explained, Heisenberg was one of the world's leading physicists, and at the time of the German breakup, he was worth more to us than 10 divisions of Germans. Had he fallen into the Russian hands, he would have proven invaluable to them. The Western approach, however self-interested, typically met with voluntary compliance on the German scientists' parts. In contrast, the Soviet answer to Paperclip, Operation Osoaviakim, used the implied threat of imprisonment, torture and death, the characteristic tools of Stalinist Russia, to coerce assistance from German scientists and engineers following the war. These men yielded rich dividends to the Soviet state in terms of achieving at least temporary technical parity with the USSR's Western rivals. To say Operation Paperclip had a profound impact on the Cold War and American history would be an understatement. The Allies had created a plethora of overlapping missions, forces, plans, lists and operations to sift Germany for valuable personnel and technology. Though confused, jumbled, and often redundant, with no overall rationalizing framework, these numerous initiatives and organizations did their work thoroughly, gleaning incredible quantities of data from the fallen Thousand-Year Reich. The most well-known example of the operation's success is Werner von Braun, who was once a member of a branch of the SS involved in the Holocaust, would become known as the father of rocket science and fascinate the world with visions of winged rockets and space stations as a new Manhattan project, one that NASA would eventually adopt. And in addition to the weaponization of ballistic missiles that progressed throughout the Cold War, von Braun's expertise was used for America's most historic space missions. NASA also had to develop rockets capable of first launching a spacecraft into Earth's orbit and then launching it toward the Moon. The Soviets struggled throughout the 1960s to design rockets up to the task, but thanks to von Braun, NASA got it right with the Saturn V rocket, which to this day remains the most powerful launching rocket NASA ever used. An initial group of 1,600 German scientists was imported to improve the American arsenal of rockets, biological and chemical weapons, and to ensure they did not fall into Soviet hands. President Harry Truman sanctioned the operation, but forbade the agency from recruiting Nazi members or active Nazi supporters, so their documents were simply altered to be cleared as American operatives. Under this guise, a group of 34 Nazi scientists was taken to the United States under the leadership of German Dr. Hubertus Strughold and accepted contracts authorized by the American Joint Chiefs of Staff. They were put to work at Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio to practice their skills on prisoners, mental patients, ethnic minorities, and what were then called sexual deviants. Among the most controversial Nazi scientists was Dr. Walter Schreiber, who had intentionally infected entire concentration camps with typhus and malaria and had experimented with injections of phenol in executions. Interrogated and then hired by the Americans, he worked at the Air Force School of Medicine at Randolph Air Force Base. However, when his past activities were revealed, the CIA hastily arranged a visa and a job for him in Argentina in an epidemiological lab. From there, he moved on to Paraguay and eventually West Germany. The predecessors of MKUltra's drug experiments developed over the course of several years and projects, arguably beginning with the US Navy's Project Chatter in 1947. Project Chatter focused on the identification and testing of both natural and synthetic substances for effectiveness in interrogations and for the recruitment of agents. Headed by Charles Savage of the Naval Medical Research Institute in Bethesda, Maryland, both humans and animals were tested. Of primary interest were the drugs anabasine, scopolamine, and mescaline. Project Chatter ended during the Korean War due to its limited progress and the success of other projects. At the height of the Cold War in the late 1950s and early 60s, many Americans worried about the communist menace represented by the Soviet Union, China, and North Korea, and Americans at all levels of society believed the communist countries were studying and perfecting methods of mind control. In Korea, mind control efforts were practiced on prisoners of war, and Western militaries were alarmed at the number of prisoners who seemed willing to voluntarily turn on their home country. Recent history was discarded, and the urge to suppress individuals' liberty for national security became the norm. It had been the US that devised the Nuremberg Codes that forbade all testing without consent, but at the same time, the government had refused to sign on to it. Now, American officials believed that the country had arrived late to the covert war of torture, spying, and manipulation techniques, and they were in a great rush to catch up. In doing so, a regimen of literally bad science driven by comprehensible, if inexcusable, human impulses, overtook the constitutional rights of American citizens. It was backed up by government approval, a heady combination of limitless, unaccountable money and little time. Operation Sea Spray became a peripheral installment to the general MK Ultra concept as a biological war experiment fixated on the activities of the Soviet Union. No experiment was considered too outlandish, even mass tests conducted on the population at large. In 1950, a large cloud of allegedly harmless but traceable germs was released over the skies of San Francisco. Sprayed by a naval vessel, two pathogens were employed, the Serratia marcescens and Bacillus globigii. Spraying was continuous from September the 20th to the 27th, and monitoring equipment in 43 locations around the city led to an estimation that each of the 800,000 residents could have ingested 5,000 particles. The city was chosen for its regular influx of fog, which was thought to disguise the germ cloud. For 6 days, as the bacteria-laden vapor was poured over the city, 11 people were checked into Stanford Hospital, with one eventually dying. Incredibly, Operation Sea Spray may have been less outlandish than an even more covert national effort by the US Army to test secret bacterial agents, with the general population as guinea pigs. Known loosely as Operation Bacterium, various cities across the country were used as an open-air lab, including New York City, Key West, Panama City, and various locations in Alaska and Pennsylvania. Some of the tests were performed on military bases, while others took place in airports, turnpikes, bus stations, and subways. Light bulbs were filled with the pathogens and dropped onto subway platforms. Airports were sprayed by covert agents walking through the corridors with briefcases spewing the bacteria. In the end, biological weaponry was judged to be the superior agent to chemical. The Operation Bacterium report concluded, ounce for ounce, biological weapons are potentially more dangerous than chemical. In 1951, a team of CIA scientists flew to Tokyo and oversaw an operation in which 4 Japanese operatives from the war were taken to a secret location and injected with various depressants and stimulants. The Japanese agents had worked for the infamous Unit 731, responsible for many of the Japanese atrocities committed during the war. They confessed to working for the Soviets as well. After all that could be learned from them had been obtained, the 4 were taken into the harbor, shot, and dumped overboard. However, not all members of Unit 731 were punished. Among the eventual 10,000 scientists smuggled into the US after the war, many were from Unit 731, and their studies were co-opted by the Americans. To facilitate this process, Chinese accounts of Japanese atrocities were dismissed as communist propaganda, so various members of Unit 731 were allowed to go free. Among those brought to the US was Shiro Ishii, Unit 731's head. The Japanese microbiologist was given immunity from prosecution and upon his arrival in the US went to Maryland to offer advice on bioweapons. The beginning. The name MK Ultra served as an intentionally oblique cryptogram, sponsored by the CIA's Office of Technical Service. The designation of Ultra had been employed during World War II as a designation of the most secret classification of military projects. Some sources claim that MK was a reference to the German words Menschkontrolle. The use of propaganda to turn enemy prisoners of war against their home countries was hardly new to the 20th century. But American authorities became so alarmed about POWs during the Korean War that some who returned after vocally denouncing their home country were experimented on to determine why they did so. Around the same time, US Air Force and Marine flyers testified publicly that they had been ordered to drop biological weapons on China and North Korea. The testimony was followed by depositions detailing each flyer's knowledge about who ordered it, where the weapons came from, the training involved, and the secrecy that surrounded the entire operation. The unprecedented degree of compliance and collaboration among POWs and some of the soldiers alarmed the Pentagon and CIA officials. In tandem with these developments, the Cold War rivalry produced numerous breakthrough technologies out of an unhealthy spirit of one-upmanship, and the CIA sought to utilize technology along with a cadre of sleeper agents stationed throughout the world to conduct assassinations. Legislation had banned the US government from participating in assassinations, so it would be done off the books. CIA Director Allen Dulles, arguably the second most powerful man in the country, gave a speech before a gathering of Princeton alumni on April 10, 1953. The Korean War had almost ended, and the New York Times had recently published an article on converted POWs at the hands of communist brainwashers. The agency charged with handling POW confession cases grew stronger by the day, and in his speech, Dulles cited the battle for men's minds and a new form of brain warfare. He described theoretical Soviet techniques as effective but abhorrent and nefarious. Dulles further claimed that experimentation against the will of a subject was antithetical to American values. We in the West are somewhat handicapped in brain warfare because there are few survivors, and we have no human guinea pigs to try these extraordinary techniques. Dulles' speech conveniently omitted the fact that the CIA was already overseeing experiments on human guinea pigs at secret sites in France, Germany, and South Korea. In fact, Dulles had already approved Project MK-Ultra, aiming to develop techniques to use against the Soviet bloc and other enemies. To do so, the project aimed to control human behavior with drugs and other psychological manipulations. At the same time, the speech hinted at what was going on behind the scenes. Dulles openly praised the science behind hypnosis as a great American asset. As an example, he offered an anecdote proving the susceptibility of any individual under communist influence by analogizing them to a phonograph playing a disc put on its spindle by an outside genius under which it has no control. The thought of brainwashing both terrified and fascinated the American public in the 1950s, albeit mostly from the standpoint of science fiction. The Manchurian Candidate, authored by Richard Condon, centered around a programmable involuntary assassin agent and was published late in the decade. The Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs was published as a group of espionage vignettes and meant to be read in any order. Both were based on themes of unhinged scientists and vast political conspiracies. On April 13, 1953, 3 days after his Princeton speech, Dulles initiated the kind of program he had just publicly railed against, ordering the agency to develop mind-controlling drugs for deployment against the Soviet bloc. He instructed Sidney Gottlieb, chief of the newly formed Chemical Division of the Technical Services Staff, to begin the experiments without signing the usual contracts or other written agreements. MK-Ultra was born from this order, utilizing the very methodologies employed in Japanese and German camps. Over the following 2 decades, this top-secret CIA project would conduct hundreds of clandestine experiments, often without the subject's knowledge. MK-Ultra would undergo several name changes that coincided with variety and depth of involvement. On August 20, 1953, Operation Bluebird was renamed Operation Artichoke as a nod to New York criminal Ciro Terranova, known as the Artichoke King. Artichoke, like Bluebird, was a rapidly developing offshoot of the eventual MK-Ultra program that emphasized the potential of hypnosis and behavior modification as a means of preventing agency employees from providing intelligence to adversaries. The project secretly used many subjects, and it was later labeled an extensive political abuse of psychiatry in North America. The work was systemic and organized and involved many leading psychiatrists and medical schools. The government climate surrounding Bluebird and Artichoke was permissive, supportive, and approving. All communication within the project was accomplished in compartmentalized fashion and on a need-to-know basis. The origins of Bluebird and Artichoke lay in the testimony of Dachau survivors given to American interrogators after their liberation. Atrocities had been performed by some of the Germans arrested at Kransberg Castle, north of Frankfurt, and they were interrogated as part of Operation Dustwind. The most famous was Kurt Blomer. He and many of his colleagues had their pasts wiped clean and were subsequently hired by the Americans before they engaged in a continuation of research started by the Nazis. Samuel Russia was hired as well. He was infamous for putting Russian and Polish POWs in tubs of cold water in concentration camps and meticulously documenting their deaths. Blomer was particularly well known for his experiments with bacteria and viruses, and he was known to have experimented on humans with plague pathogens. 1 year prior to this work, a memo asked the question whether the memory and personality of a subject could be wiped clean in preparation for a new agenda. Viral warfare was included with the caveat that not all viruses have to be lethal. The objectives include those that act as short-term and long-term incapacitating agents. All the while, dissension within the CIA was not tolerated and moral concerns were stamped out. Early work. By 1953, Operation Artichoke was enjoying its best success by emphasizing hypnosis under forced morphine addiction. The fundamental question of the program remained: can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation? In order to perform assassinations overseas or at home if necessary, an ever-present question pertained to the successful production of the Manchurian Candidate, a hypnotized assassin. The aim was to search out and perfect, quote, the detailed, systematic creation of specific amnesia barriers, new identities, and hypnotically implanted codes and triggers. The CIA was initially divided over who should lead the program. Army Brigadier General Paul F. Gaynor was eventually chosen, and he intentionally selected subjects perceived as weaker and less intelligent. In the 1950s, that meant homosexuals, racial minorities, and military prisoners. In an expansion of Artichoke, isolated locations were established in Europe, Japan, and the Philippines, and within weeks of Dulles' expansion of the program, secure secret prisons were found or built in the Canal Zone, West Germany, and Japan for refining torture techniques and to train Manchurian candidates. In the United States, 80 universities, colleges, and hospitals participated. To qualify as a Manchurian candidate, 4 requirements were listed. The subject had to be recreated consciously, and a new identity had to be firmly implanted. Amnesia barriers had to be created, and the new agent was to be used in simulated or actual operations. In one infamous episode, 2 19-year-olds were victims of the creation of multiple personalities, in which they could supposedly pass from a fully awakened state to a deep hypnotically controlled state over the telephone, with no other individuals noticing the change. Another security office employee was hypnotized and given a false identity. She defended the alteration with great vehemence, refusing to say her true name. Individuals were given triggers over the telephone through a code word, passing into a trance state without closing their eyes, and carrying out various instructions. Subjects were fogged with amnesia in faulty and vague memories of the experience. In another instance, a Miss Blank was given a gun despite having already expressed a fear of firearms. She was instructed to use any method available to awaken a second Miss Blank from a deep hypnotic sleep. The subject fired an unloaded gun at the second subject. Once awake, she refused to touch the gun in an absolute denial that she had ever fired the weapon. Contrary to some belief, Artichoke was not merely folded into the larger MK Ultra project, but also continued as an autonomous project for 2 more decades. Artichoke and all corresponding programs were both official and confidential, and it was quietly mentioned between presidents and agency heads, including requests for forgiveness. However, the average Joe did not know about them. With that said, Bluebird and Artichoke were at least administratively rolled into MK Ultra, and a proliferation of sub-projects emerged, eventually totaling nearly 150 projects in all. Sub-project number 23 tested the effects of certain drugs on the central nervous system of terminally ill cancer patients. Sub-project number 87 worked on the purification of extremely high-potency allergies. The ability of delivering various psychochemicals to non-psychotic humans was the emphasis of sub-project number 40. In 1954, Sub-Project 54 initiated operations under the auspices of the U.S. Navy. Codenamed Perfect Concussion, the experiments centered on suboral, below-the-ear frequency blasts to erase memory. The CIA later claimed that the program was never carried out, which critics have charged was merely a common deflection. The elimination of memory was believed to be a necessary first step in the process of finding a Manchurian candidate, and replacing that void with a newly crafted agency agenda was the second, turning seemingly normal men and women into real Manchurian candidates as unwitting assassins. Sub-Project 128 tested an allegedly successful method of rapid hypnotic induction. Sub-Project number 138 worked on creating a body antenna, personal tagging, radiant energy measurement, and remote polygraphs. No shortage of enlisted men existed for candidates. Psych profiles and background materials on every subject were available for all individuals, and each man was desensitized while being strapped into a chair, with head immobilized and eyes clamped open. They were forced to watch violent true-life splatter flicks until they were totally callous toward scenes of horrible carnage. The entire process generally took a few weeks. The rumor persisted that low-frequency blasts habitually created permanent mental damage to its subjects, but the program steamed ahead through the Office of Naval Research and the CIA participating covertly. Senator Richard Schweiker, a Republican from Pennsylvania, who later became President Ronald Reagan's Secretary of Human Health and Services, discussed some of the work done from 1954 to 1955. He explained that when the experimenter found out the CIA was acting as a cover, the project was transferred to MK Ultra 3 years later. Contrary to testimony that perfect concussion was never actually carried out, salvaged records indicated that testing was undertaken with a 3-blast test in a lab of 2,500 square feet. The document also mentioned a type of special blackjack device used to administer a high peak impact force with a low initial surface pressure. Some early MK Ultra experiments centered around electroshock therapy, hypnosis, polygraphs, radiation, and a variety of drugs, toxins, and chemicals. Some of the subjects were volunteers, but others were coerced. Many had no idea of their status as experimental subjects, including mentally impaired boys at a state school, American soldiers, and sexual psychopaths from a state hospital. Candidates for assassination training were taken from submarine crews and paratroop companies. Those awarded for bravery were considered excellent material, but murderers were taken from military prisons as well. All were experimented on at the Navy Neuropsychiatric Lab in San Diego and in Naples, Italy, for easy dispersion throughout Europe as part of Operation Gladio. Soon, the Navy began to ensnare prisoners from the general population. Colonel William Bishop trained as an assassin, and his name came up as a benchwarmer after President Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. Bishop described the heavy regimen of drugs he was given and claimed that they could take John Doe and get this man to kill George and Jane Smith. He remembers nothing about it. Drugs. Of all the controversial and mysterious episodes associated with MK Ultra, the most notorious is the death of Frank Olson. On November the 23rd, 1953, Olson, a biological warfare researcher who was part of the project, fell to his death out of the window of his room in the Statler Hotel in New York City. Shortly before his death, he had spoken of leaving his job, and he told his wife that he had made a terrible mistake. The night manager who found him on the street below later commented, "In all my years in the hotel business, I never encountered a case where someone got up in the middle of the night, ran across a dark room in his underwear, avoiding 2 beds, and dove through a closed window with the shade and curtains drawn." Needless to say, Olson's death was surrounded by strange circumstantial evidence. When authorities responded to the scene of Olson's death and went up to his room, they found Robert Lashbrook, who was sharing the room with Olson, sitting on the toilet. Allegedly, Lashbrook claimed he could not remember whether the window was open or closed. He did not leave the room after Olson allegedly jumped, but instead made a phone call to an unidentified source. A phone operator who overheard the call claimed Lashbrook said, "He's gone." An unidentified voice allegedly responded, "Well, that's too bad. That's too bad." Initially, Olson's death was alleged to be suicide, but his family had a second autopsy done, and that one revealed injuries Olson had suffered before his death. This led to the theory that he had actually been assassinated by the CIA. Dr. James E. Stars from Georgetown, in a second autopsy, found a hole in Olson's head that may have been formed by the butt of a gun. Olson's body also lacked cuts and lacerations, indicating that the window was open. A second investigator theorized that Olson resisted and was pitched through the closed window. He noted that the man staying in the room with Olson, Robert Lashbrook, was awake the whole time, and that Olson wasn't cut out for the work he was doing. He was in way over his head, and he knew it at last. As it turned out, 9 days before his death, Olson and several others who were working on MK Ultra were covertly given LSD at a retreat in Maryland. Their drinks were allegedly laced by Lashbrook under the guidance of Sidney Gottlieb himself. LSD, which was not yet illegal to use, was being tested extensively by the CIA as a potential truth serum, and it was considered the likeliest candidate for successful results across various MK Ultra experiments. Experimenters hoped that in the end, administering the drug would bring out deep confessions, wipe the subject's mind clear, and reprogram him or her as a robot agent. Among the experimental regimen's most famous subjects was Whitey Bulger, the notorious organized crime boss. In his memoirs, he recalled residing with a group of 8 convicts in a panic and paranoid state. Side effects included a total loss of appetite. The room could change shape, hours of paranoia and feeling violent, living nightmares, blood coming out of the walls. The use of LSD had seemingly innocuous origins. Albert Hoffman, a chemist for Sandoz Pharmaceutical, synthesized the drug for the first time in Basel, Switzerland, during World War II. He was searching for a blood stimulant and a substance to aid in pain management of childbirth. LSD's effects were unknown until Hoffman accidentally took it in through his fingers and discovered that a mere 25 micrograms could produce vivid hallucinations. Hoffman subsequently tested it on himself, often with adverse results, but throughout the 1950s, psychedelic clinics sprang up throughout Europe and the US. More than 40,000 people had regular prescriptions for addiction, schizophrenia, and PTSD, and LSD was thought to be a cure for homosexuality as well. The US government first became aware of LSD at the trial of Hungarian Cardinal Mindszenty, an opponent of the communist regime there. He was observed to be absent-minded, showed robotic movements, and confessed to crimes he had not committed. In response, $25 million was given to the CIA's Office of Technical Service to study human response to drugs and environmental conditions that could manipulate individuals to perform behaviors against their will. While the drug was being further popularized by psychologist Timothy Leary and poet Allen Ginsberg, the military viewed LSD as a potential chemical weapon capable of rendering whole groups of people, including military forces, indifferent to their surroundings, interfere with planning and judgment, creating apprehension, uncontrollable confusion, and terror. Naturally, the man behind the LSD experiments for the CIA was the chemist who served as MK Ultra's head. Gottlieb was born in 1918 in New York City, the son of Hungarian Jewish immigrants, and he was eager to serve the war effort, but he could not do so due to a club foot and a severe stammer. He was recruited instead for secret US research in chemical warfare. Gottlieb's parents were Orthodox Jews, but Gottlieb took an interest in agnosticism and Zen Buddhism in his youth. He graduated magna cum laude in chemistry from the University of Wisconsin, followed by a doctorate from California Institute of Technology. By the time he became the leader of MK Ultra, Gottlieb believed that the agency could harness LSD's mind-altering properties for brainwashing and psychological torture in both foreign and domestic enemies. It was Gottlieb who brought the widespread use of LSD to America, and by the middle of the decade, he had attempted to arrange for the CIA to purchase the entire global supply of the drug. With that, the CIA set up a network of phony philanthropic foundations to fund university and college research. America's top education institutions were involved, including Harvard and Yale, the Research Center of Stanford University, and the Medical Institute at UCLA. Among schools participating, a few were Canadian. Private psychiatrists experimented on patients at the Royal Victoria Hospital in Montreal and also at McGill University. In one case, a group of survivors, including the wife of a member of the Canadian Parliament, sued the US government, and the case dragged on for 4 years. As one writer put it, the CIA had developed a reign of literally bad science, driven by comprehensible, if inexcusable, human impulses. Nevertheless, the belief persisted that the collateral damage was worth it to gain the key to global power. During the nearly 10 years in which the program fully operated, no one knew or wanted to know what they were doing. The breadth of the experimentation was limited only by the overseer's whims, and oversight was virtually non-existent. Early on, Gottlieb hired George Hunter White to administer and record results for a number of experiments. White was a journalist turned narc who was reportedly into the action as a thrill. A former captain in the army, he was also an officer in the Office of Strategic Services, the World War II intelligence agency that subsequently became the CIA. As such, it only made sense for him to moonlight as a CIA operative. White once headed a drug bust that arrested 30 members of a dangerous drug gang, the Hip Sing Tong, after a 2-year undercover operation. White also worked in Mexico, China, and the Middle East, in addition to the US, after being trained in a spy saboteur school. He was an ideal candidate for Gottlieb, brash and aggressive, and unconcerned about norms and rules. Indeed, he reportedly caught Gottlieb's attention due to his sociopathic nature. In terms of the degree of restraint to be used in the experimentation process, it soon became clear that White had virtually none. In the early stages of MK Ultra, White lived in New York City under the alias of Morgan Hall. There he stalked, captured, drugged, and interrogated numerous subjects before reporting the results to Gottlieb. His escapades in New York only came to an end after Olson's controversial death. Under the categorization of sub-project number 42, Gottlieb desired to restart White's experiments, but he was too well known in the East. After transferring him into the CIA, White was moved to California, and by this time, sex as an interrogation method had been added to the experiment list. A series of safe houses was turned into swanky apartments decorated with X-rated art and bugged with recording devices disguised as outlets for scientists operating behind two-way glass. For the scientists, it was the chance to watch real-life porn. According to later testimony, the safe houses turned into frat houses for spies, featuring 8 martini lunches. The houses were referred to as the pad. White personally hired and evaluated each of the sex workers. Remuneration for prostitutes was paid partly in chits, exchangeable for goods and services, and for protection from law enforcement, a type of get-out-of-jail card, freeing them from legal harassment. In early experiments, a prostitute would enter one of the safe houses with a customer and offer him a drink that had been spiked with White's choice of drug for that day. At first, prostitutes were instructed to make conversation with the men, but in terms of obtaining information, that approach was deemed a massive failure, mostly because the men were more focused on their immediate hormonal needs. After sex, the prostitute would ask the customer questions to see if anything would spill. White watched them through a two-way window, martini in hand.
Hey man, why don't each one of y'all do me a favor and share this video and shit, you know, help me grow in this algorithm. But not only that, I mean,
the prostitutes were
instructed
to spend time with each man and be as affectionate as possible before leaving. This had more of a desired effect.
You know, I could definitely use the support. I would definitely appreciate it if you mash that like button.
The CIA paid prostitutes
I feel like I've been growing lately, even though it's been inch by inch, but I would truly appreciate it.
In New York City.
Thank you very much.
They had little oversight, and along with White, agents admitted that on a daily basis, their work was done in a freewheeling, party-like atmosphere. White never fully revealed himself as the head of the experiments, and in subsequent investigations, he demurred, claiming that he served as a very minor missionary, actually a heretic. I toiled wholeheartedly in the vineyards because it was fun. In a retrospective, Time magazine quoted a CIA staff member as asserting that the agency appeared to be experiencing its own form of madness. Regardless of the competing claims, it's clear the CIA's aim was to ascertain whether sex could be used as a type of diplomatic currency through encouraging men to speak without feeling guarded. Operatives acted as drug suppliers in the project, with resources taken directly from their own publicized drug busts. In a breakdown of professionalism, the sex experiments spilled out of the safe houses, and White began to take his work home with him. Various friends and acquaintances were invited to dinner at his residence, with his wife present. They were served unknown drugs with their meals, and those who proved uncooperative ended up in mental hospitals with bad LSD trips. Not entirely fulfilled, White spent his free time on the town, drugging anonymous people surreptitiously. At some point, others who were keeping records at the CIA realized that he was spending an enormous amount of money, and White was eventually forced to shut down the program. Needless to say, paying prostitutes with taxpayer money was not a good look. White began to suffer from a series of depressive episodes, most likely from his habitual rampant alcoholism. He had tried every drug available in his own agency, and despite claiming to feel no effects from LSD, his sense of reality eroded. After 12 years of forced drugging and sex experiments, he added virtually nothing of value to national security. All in all, White worked with the Federal Bureau of Narcotics for 31 years. At his death, his wife left his papers to a local community college in the San Francisco area, making an investigation easy. When researchers and the government investigators finally appeared, what they found was described as being like Christmas. Gottlieb wrote a memo in 1958 listing all the ways in which a myriad of promising drugs could be used. This extended the possibilities well past interrogation into disinformation, the induction of temporary insanity, and public humiliation of political opponents. Various drugs were used to undermine enemies from Cuba to the Congo, and the program spread to the 149 mind control projects under the general program of MK Ultra. In at least 25 incidents, LSD was administered in breach of the standards under which Nazi doctors were convicted and executed in the Nuremberg trials. In the beginning, everyone on staff took LSD before Gottlieb turned to prisoners, mental patients, and prostitutes. Major General William Creasy saw even more potential. Without flinching, he wholeheartedly recommended putting LSD in a city's water supply as preferable to bombing. He thought it absurd that his idea of testing a cloud of acid over a large city was rejected. Gottlieb had been the first person ever drafted into the CIA for the purpose of controlling the human mind. And since the CIA had no hospitals of its own, his division of the agency either procured special facilities within public hospitals or single-handedly funded the construction of new wings. The entire bill to the CIA for purchasing LSD came to $240,000, and even as its results faltered, Gottlieb's belief that the agency could establish an international advantage through the use of a full range of drugs and their potential for altering or destroying the mind held fast. It has been claimed that Gottlieb never rejected any drug with the potential to carry out his work, but that he was particularly obsessive about LSD. He habitually administered increasing doses to his subjects for hundreds of days consecutively to find the point at which the human mind would dissolve. To this end, Gottlieb passed along great quantities of funding to doctors, such as Harris Isbell at the Addiction Research Center in Lexington, Kentucky. A pharmacologist and director of research at the center, his subjects were described as volunteers. They were required to be physically healthy, not psychotic, and to have a background in drug addiction. In the psychiatric experiments, LSD was administered for 77 days consecutively to a group of Negro males. After all the efforts and extensive tests conducted in every way imaginable, Gottlieb concluded that LSD was too unpredictable for use in counterintelligence. Other experimenters continued to try, but Gottlieb moved his focus onto opioids and other substances. Along the way, Gottlieb fashioned a poisoned handkerchief for an Iraqi, a poisoned dart for a Congolese, and an arsenal of poisoned presents intended for Fidel Castro. Gottlieb, with his doctorate in chemistry and the firm backing of the CIA, was untouchable, and peripheral associates either did not know or had no wish to know what he was doing. He served the CIA for 22 years as an expert in poisons, and his assembled staff was considered to represent the largest and most advanced thought police in the world. Aside from LSD, peripheral experiments included studies of the effects of opioids on human systems. The regimen included regular administering of morphine, methadone, and barbiturates, and tests were made with chronic barbiturate administration. When the drugs were withdrawn, resulting side effects included weakness, tremors, anxiety, vomiting, convulsions, delirium, and hallucinations. As LSD studies waned, psilocybin, psilocin, DMT, bufotenine, morning glory seeds, and mescaline received increased focus. Gottlieb's protege, Dr. John Gittinger, developed an astonishing complex of personality and psychological tests that proved to be accurate in determining the best approach to manipulating and compromising individuals. He applied such tests to more than 30,000 individuals. Gittinger worked closely with Dr. Harris Isbell and the Addiction Research Center in Lexington, where Isbell had a ready supply of candidates for testing. His work, according to the Alliance for Human Research Protection, can be described as torture on a par with Nazi human experiments. Over his experimental career, Isbell personally conducted human tests with 800 psychoactive chemicals, and hundreds of people who suffered uncontrollable urges, especially sexual assault and/or murder, were sent to Gittinger. The agency had women ready, called them a stable adept at seduction, all manner of sexual activities and murder for national security. In nearby Indianapolis, Eli Lilly and Company participated in subproject number 6, which lasted from the initiation of MK Ultra all the way into 1973. Its aim was to develop a reliable resource of LSD within the United States and assist in the search for natural hypnotic products. Other kinds of experiments. Between 1957 and 1964, Dr. Ewan Cameron was one of the preeminent names attached to MK Ultra. A psychiatrist from Bridge of Allan, Scotland, he worked his way up at the University of Glasgow before coming to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. Following his stint with the hospital and university, he became the lead psychiatrist at Albany Hospital. Cameron became an American citizen during World War II, but he spent 21 years working at McGill University in Canada. During his life, he was respected and adored, beloved for the softness of his personality. It was only later that his true activities were uncovered. This brainwashing genius has been described as an exceptionally powerful, willful, rational, and malevolent human agent. Cameron's brainwashing work was done in plain sight, and he apparently began with an earnest and desperate attempt to cure schizophrenia, and was likely well-intentioned. His practices did not become barbaric until the CIA began funding him in 1957. Subjects, including many children, suffered for more than a decade from what Cameron called being depatterned. They were dosed with LSD-25, barbiturates, PCP, and sodium amytal. They were forcibly confined in small chambers called sleep rooms, sensorially deprived and rendered incontinent. They were in most cases stripped of some or of all their memories and left unable to live outside of an institution. The funding from the CIA was the final temptation, the extreme limit for a scientist who now had a chance to pursue the impossible experiment. The psyche was not for Cameron an entity to be psychoanalyzed. Rather, it was not an entity at all, but a series of complexly interacting patterned mechanisms and feedback functions a skilled researcher could disassemble. Cameron headed up subproject number 68, a CIA regimen of mind control experiments in both the US and Canada, and he commuted between the two countries each week. His Canadian lab was the McGill University Allen Memorial Institute, and his program was informally referred to as the Montreal Experiments. For Cameron's US facility, MK Ultra funded construction of the Gorman Annex at Georgetown University for $1.25 million. Part of the space was set aside for the CIA and its staff of biochemists, all undercover. Few knew what the Gorman Annex's function was at all. During the 7-year period, Cameron conducted blatantly unethical and inhumane experiments there, as he had at the Bandon mental hospitals during the 1930s. He is now infamous for overutilizing coma therapies. As a regular regimen, he put patients into a comatose state for up to 5 hours each day, often for 50 or more consecutive days. Cameron described his process in 2 phases. First, it was necessary to reduce a subject to a vegetative state through electroconvulsive shock, drug-induced sleep, and sensory isolation until the ability to function mentally or physically was lost. At that point, psychic driving was begun. This involved hundreds of hours of looped tapes through earphones, special helmets, or large speakers, especially in the later years. His program produced doctors skilled in the right procedures for removing a subject's memories. Among the most successful cases was a woman who could retrieve no memories from her birth to the time of her treatment. Not only did she not know her husband, but had no idea what one was. Cameron's experiments generally left patients in a childlike mental state. So successful were his experiments that his procedures were employed again at Guantanamo. A schedule of drugs forced on subjects led to a state of illogical thinking and impulsiveness, to the point where the recipient would be discredited in public. The most successful mode of ingestion came in the form of a knockout pill, that could be surreptitiously administered in drinks, food, through cigarettes, or as an aerosol. The mix of drugs and hypnosis resulted in many patients forgetting how to talk, forgetting their parents, and thinking that their interrogators were their parents. Cameron's obituary was generous, with effusive fondness and the trumpeting of his credentials. It was reported that he was concerned with the well-being of men everywhere. Female patients fell in love with him by the droves and with the loveliness of his personality. In the 30 years since, that reputation has been dashed, and he is now more commonly described as maniacal, notoriously cold, and that monster. In 1961, an extensive study was undertaken of the effects of radiation on children and ignorant civilians. The study involved Harvard Medical School, the Massachusetts General Hospital, and the Boston University School of Medicine. The institutions administered radioactive iodine to a large group of disabled children at the Wrentham State School. At the Fernald School, members of the MIT staff gave radioactive materials to mentally handicapped students by adding it to their food. Saul Krugman and his staff of the New York University Medical School injected severely disabled children with the hepatitis virus at Willowbrook State School, funded by both Army Research and Development Command. A CIA memo was revealed years later by the Church Committee that listed 3 covert techniques to conduct attacks with poison on crops. Added to that was the description of a bioweapon that can fire poison frozen into a needle shape, which can cause a heart attack or cancer in the target. Minor forms of mind control took place from the early 60s. Subliminal advertising was discovered, with brief shots of products inserted into alternate information and piped-in music at stores. Project Monarch evolved out of MKUltra's sub-projects, such as Spellbinder, to create robotic assassins. It was Spellbinder that brought the first 10,000 German and Japanese scientists to the US. Monarch operated on 6 levels: Alpha, to improve memory retention; sexual programming, to eliminate moral values and remove inhibitions; deadly force programming for special agents and military elites; Theta, psychic programming through various mind control systems, brain implants, and telemetry devices; Omega, Code Green, a self-destruct program to commit suicide if the agent believes he is being forced to give up too much information; and Gamma, a situation in which the agent's senses are triggered by an opportunity for misinformation and deception. The CIA also funded a secret mind control facility in Vacaville, California, and Dr. Carl Pribram of the Neuropsychology Research Laboratory led the lab. He was quoted as saying, "I could educate a child by putting an electrode in the lateral hypothalamus and then selecting the situation at which I stimulate it." As this suggests, the CIA and the military conducted at least 100 behavior modification experiments involving children over the decades. The question of what to do with the subjects after the testing persisted. At first, killing them was discussed, but the agency doubted that they could keep it secret for long. In the end, all child subjects received a frontal lobotomy when no longer useful. A Yale University professor named Dr. Jose Manuel Rodriguez Delgado ran a long series of experiments as an expert in electrode insertion with a mix of drugs directly injected into the brain. As professor of psychiatry, he invented his own devices and experimented on animals as well. In one impressive demonstration, he inserted an electrode into the brain of a bull. If one button was pushed, he charged, but when the other button was pushed, he immediately halted. Delgado transferred this ability to change brain commands instantly to humans. A video still exists of a 16-year-old girl in which he violently changed her emotional responses with the same push of a button. He easily induced rage or calm, confusing her verbal and mental capacities until she was even uncertain about her gender. A secondary aim of the government, one shared by Delgado, was the development of a method for citizen control. He worked on the creation of a psycho-civilized society by use of a device called a stymosiever. Decades before the proliferation of sophisticated computers, Delgado predicted that soon a computer would be able to establish two-way contact with a human brain. Using transistor and electrical technology for human beings was considered a Frankenstein-like approach, and many misunderstood his early work. The stymosiever was tested on 25 subjects with chronic refractory epilepsy and schizophrenia, with small wires being inserted directly into the skull. Electrical stimulation was applied into the direct portion of the brain as chosen by the experimenter. Delgado was reportedly successful at evoking the emotion of choice and at will, but the title of his most important book, Physical Control of the Mind Toward a Psycho-Civilized Society, suggested to many that he argued against the concept of free will, impairing his image considerably. Medical drugs eventually made Delgado's approach obsolete, so he turned to other modes of controlling the brain. From time to time, he was still asked to use implants for uncontrollable prisoners. John C. Lilly, a physician, therapist, analyst, philosopher, and writer, received requests from the CIA to provide information on the use of electrodes to, quote, directly stimulate the pleasure and pain centers of the brain. Unlike Delgado, he claims to have refused, but evidence suggests otherwise. The chair of UCLA's Department of Psychiatry, Dr. Jolyon West, was an expert on cults and coercive persuasion, alcoholism, drug abuse, violence, and terrorism. At a lab in the mountains outside of UCLA, he directed a lab where he initiated the Violence Project, sponsored by the university. There, West worked with radio waves and parapsychology to create dissociative personalities, referring to his subjects as changelings. The results of experiments were the creation of amnesia, false memories, altered persona, and pseudo-identities. West served as director of the conservative American Family Foundation and of the False Memory Syndrome Foundation. At the center near Westwood, he experimented with how to control overt expression of life-threatening behavior by identifiable individuals and groups. West employed 2 Los Angeles junior high schools as source material, searching for genetic factors that predispose one to violence. One was, quote, predominantly in a black area, and the other predominantly in a Chicano area. For the first time in American history, criteria were set up for the labeling of individuals believed to be potentially criminal, even though they had committed no crime. These included minority groups and children. Dr. Philip J. Hiltz claims to have witnessed some of West's experiments on children, including one execution which caused him to forever reject the death penalty. West reached the conclusion that the physical and sexual abuse of children turned them into compliant adults. The U.S. Army and government hid a great number of similar abuse cases against children. West's experiments paralleled perfectly with the creation of multiple personalities. Dr. George Estabrooks, a supposed hypnotism expert, based his experimental practices on the fracturing of the human personality into separate aspects. Estabrooks claimed, "This is no science fiction. I have done it." He concluded that children were far easier to hypnotize and that they dissociate traumatic experiences more easily than adults, creating alternate identities that can later be exploited and controlled. Today, Estabrooks is known for being the first doctor from the MK Ultra program to publicly acknowledge the attempt to create Manchurian candidates. Estabrooks has been called the granddaddy of hypnosis in warfare and the father of the Manchurian candidate. He claimed that hypnotic control over an enemy was a simple matter if multiple personalities could be created. His now infamous quote on the need to work without supervision or oversight was telling. Quote, "Because of the demands of war, the hand of the military must not be tied by any silly prejudices in the minds of the general public. War is the end of all law." Esterbrook's work made for an important prop to Gottlieb's experiments, with the solution for spies being tortured for information. He created the concept of the hypnotic courier, in which intelligence officers went about their business with locked information in their brains, retrievable only by Esterbrook's or his colleagues. Try as they might, an enemy could not pry the information loose from an unwitting soldier. Its use was deemed suitable for perilous hypothetical missions to Japan or the Soviet Union. The CIA regularly consulted with Dr. Harold Wolff, professor of medicine at Cornell University, on advances made with, quote, threats, coercion, imprisonment, deprivation, humiliation, brainwashing, black psychiatry and hypnosis, with or without chemical agents. Wolff was the director of the CIA cutout. In espionage terms, a cutout is a mutually trusted and creditable intermediary or channel to facilitate the exchange of information between intelligence personnel or those involved in espionage. Wolff was also the director of the Human Ecology Foundation, a front for MK Ultra, and director of the American Neurological Association. In 1961, the Human Ecology Foundation was moved from New York City to Cornell University. Experiments were widened to include sexual pleasure and pain. Psychiatrist Raymond Prince, a former British-Nigerian colonist, traveled to Nigeria with human ecology funding to undertake, quote, transcultural psychological studies. He later believed that the funding was offered so that he could bring foreign nationals into the CIA. His further assignment was to collect psychocultural data on cultures and countries of interest to the CIA for psychological warfare purposes. Among the leading experts on hypnosis was Dr. Martin Orne, who, along with Jolyon West of UCLA, famously killed an elephant with LSD at the Oklahoma City Zoo. He performed one experiment in Australia called Antisocial Behavior and Hypnosis. Listed under subproject number 84, the experiment was repeated at Harvard to study the induction of high motivation in individuals by means of, quote, specific interpersonal relationships. The general aim was to test the limits of hypnosis and to improve agent assessment of techniques. Electromagnetic manipulation studies continued at UCLA at the Brain Research Center, where Dr. Mary Brazier and Dr. Ross Adey led the experiments. They realized that the brain irradiates extremely low frequencies that can be manipulated electromagnetically. The study's purpose was to publish books on advanced technologies related to brain function. Brainwashing became a fixture in American life, partly due to fears of demonized enemies by the press. The practice was a nation's concern, a creeping worry all could viscerally understand. To be a brainwashing expert was thought to be a noble calling, but in Naomi Klein's bestseller, The Shock Doctrine, Ewan Cameron was exposed as Dr. Shock. Robert Hunter, a journalist, advanced the popular use of the term brainwashing. A propagandist as well, he called it the calculated destruction of men's minds, a veritable Manhattan Project of the mind. Subproject number 119's goals paralleled the studies of electromagnetism that sought techniques of activation of the human organism by, quote, remote electronic means. It was funded by the Defense Intelligence Agency under the operation name of Sleeping Beauty. Non-lethal radio energy frequencies produced neurological effects in chimpanzees and overlapped with human experiments. Meanwhile, at Harvard, Dr. William Sweet participated in brain electrode and implant experiments, including the injection of uranium into patients. There were reportedly 149 external subprojects, categorized under the wholesome term of human ecology. But the Smithsonian claims there were 162. The discrepancy is a clear byproduct of the CIA secrecy and the negative aspects of an agency policing itself. The end. As the wrong people began to catch wind of CIA activities, Particularly in terms of Manchurian candidates, the CIA made the interesting move of refocusing the press attention to the subject. This was done to prevent the public from focusing on the torture and interrogation research being done and on the burgeoning use of LSD. Gottlieb still had the idea of giving control drugs to high officials to affect the course of important meetings. Everyone in the Office of Technical Service had tried the drug, with 2 people in each room taking notes on the other. But the agency eventually gave up on LSD after reaching the same conclusion that Gottlieb had forsaken the secret that was going to unlock the universe. Barbiturates became the next big thing for the agency, followed by amphetamines. When under their influence, subjects began to babble, mostly incoherently. With sodium pentothal and ergon, a brief window was discovered where questions could be asked with a credible answer forthcoming. Child developmental studies were intended to reach a childlike regressive state induced by torture. They were more sweetly termed coercive interrogation. Then, enhanced interrogation. Such studies were usually racially and economically profiled. The studies of Dr. Beatrice Burl on the impact of disease on families in Harlem are still not understood. Chinese individuals were studied as a different personality type, as was the family structure of the Soviet Union, and in examples of cross-cultural communication. MK-Ultra was renamed MK Search in 1964, and Gottlieb retired from the CIA in the early 70s, but was brought before Congress in 1974. There, he was able to broker a deal to save himself from prosecution. Among the most complete accounts of Gottlieb's career was Stephen Kinz's Poisoner-in-Chief, Sidney Gottlieb and the CIA Search for Mind Control. Clearly, MK-Ultra was an umbrella term for a myriad of separate experimental studies, despite all being funded by the CIA. When it was officially closed, it took on new incarnations under different names well into the 1970s. The successor to MK-Ultra was MK Naomi, specializing in biological warfare items and practices, including wartime agents that could kill or incapacitate a subject at a moderate distance. In the early 70s, David H. Price, author of Buying a Piece of Anthropology, observed that society could benefit from a study of the intelligence community interfaced with academia to get what they wanted, since the CIA had used virtually all the top educational institutions as a front. Taking heed of Price's suggestion, John Marks, a U.S. State Department Foreign Service employee, used the Freedom of Information Act to secure release of thousands of documents. A document from 10 years prior stressed, quote, the interdisciplinary scope of the project. It became apparent that some academics knew and others did not. It also revealed that reports to the agency from the various sub-projects came in 2 versions, one for the general academic community and a secret one for the CIA archives. All in all, about 150 projects associated under the umbrella of MK-Ultra tested all kinds of drugs and techniques on humans, including psychedelic drugs, paralytics, and electroshock devices, some with the subject's knowledge and some without. The various agencies kept notoriously poor records. Outgoing CIA Director Richard Helms attempted to cover any trace of MK-Ultra by destroying all the records and documents when the program was officially halted shortly before the Church Committee began investigating some of the experiments in 1974. The programs were too widespread and independent, however, and documents came to light at various times over the next 3 decades. Senator Frank Church, a Democrat from Idaho, headed a Senate committee in 1974 to investigate the CIA. Around the same time, New York Times journalist Seymour Hersh published a story claiming that the CIA conducted non-consensual drug experiments and illegal spying operations on American citizens. The article began the lengthy process of bringing the truth to light, and the public was not truly aware of the program until 1975. The subcommittee led a wider congressional investigation into a broader range of illegal CIA activities in the US and around the world. In 1976, President Gerald Ford set up a US presidential commission to investigate the agency, while the Church Committee widened the investigation to include the FBI and other intelligence agencies. Plots to assassinate foreign leaders were uncovered, along with thousands of documents related to MK once thought destroyed by the agency. The result was an executive order in 1976 prohibiting, quote, experimentation with drugs on human subjects, except with informed consent, in writing and witnessed by a disinterested party of each such human subject. Along with documents that were saved because of incorrect storage were additional MK materials. One document from the early program stated that hypnosis experiments were, quote, neither of sufficient complexity to warrant extravagant claims for operation use. There were, however, strong indications of potential hypnosis as an offensive and defensive aid. Automatic self-injections were also found, and a supply of rhodixin in 100 milligram doses used to treat hypertension and psychotic states. Thorazine hydrochloride, a common tranquilizer, was present, as was a mild analgesic containing small amounts of dexamphetamine, barbiturate, acetyl salicylic acid, and phenacetin. Anti-Parkinson drugs included hyoscine, artane, theforin, panpirit, bela bulgara, Rebalon, and Vinabel. Among the muscle relaxants were tolserol, Benadryl, dexedrine, a few antihistamines, and two unidentified drugs listed as compound 08958 and MK02. James Angleton, Chief of Counterintelligence for the CIA from 1954 to 1974 and a master spy hunter during the Cold War, was revealed to have hatched a plan to make a Manchurian candidate kill Fidel Castro. The prototype was to be an individual approximately 35 years old, well educated socially and politically, to perform an act involuntarily of attempted assassination against a prominent politician or, if necessary, against an American official. Following the assassination, the assassin was to be taken into custody and thereby disposed of. On July the 20th, 1977, CIA Director Stanfield Turner testified on the ABC Evening News that about 25 years earlier, the CIA secretly contracted with an unidentified professor of neurology. This professor went to an unnamed prison to experiment on an unknown number of convicts. He was to test an amnesia drug that could induce loss of willpower and memory, after learning that the Russians had tested it on 2 Russian agents. Both agents were drugged and hypnotized, and they relived past incidents in their lives, followed by successful interrogations. Johns Hopkins University and its involvement in drug experiments was exposed by famous investigative columnist Jack Anderson. Anderson claimed that one plaintiff was used as a chemical mixing bowl, even though the CIA knew he was already mentally unstable. He attempted suicide by burning, hanging, and trying to gnaw off his arm after suffering permanent brain damage. Uncertainty surrounds George Peters, the Church of Naturalism's founder, who was
I turned it down some just to make sure that you guys would be able to hear my voice. But isn't it amazing to find out all of these different officials, all of these different what would I call them?
Without their knowledge, and that research was
all of these different, I guess we just call them companies for now because my words don't come to mind. But just thinking about Johns Hopkins, a hospital that today so renowned, or at least that's the way they present them to us, so renowned in like their cancer research and for going above and beyond for the average human being, and you find out that they were participating in all this bullshit. And when you think about what they was doing with these different type of motherfuckers who they told you was killed and all that shit, I want you to think about 9/11. I want you to think about Osama bin Laden.
alcohol,
Especially think about that shit the next time you get ready to call somebody a conspiracy
cannabis,
theorist.
and indicia, all under hypnosis. About 4,000 new documents were discovered in 2016. A Black Vault user named Oscar Diggs discovered irregularities in the disclosed CIA collection. Diggs enumerated a list of missing records, but the CIA refused to fill them, claiming behavioral modification documents are not the same as mind control. Black Vault is now crowdfunding to cover fees imposed by the CIA for the remaining 4,385 pages. Abandoned military constraints on cruelty and torture dating back to the Lincoln administration in 1863 were, in the MK Ultra age, circumvented and discarded. The Yale Law Journal describes brainwashing and other manipulative forms as a dispersed and different kind of enemy with no flag or uniform. Old CIA manuals reveal that admissions of complicity are not ends in themselves, but merely preludes to the acquisition of more information. Among the starker claims came from Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber who insisted that he was microchipped by the federal government. His claim is as yet unconfirmed, but subliminal frequency manipulation still exists. Remote neural monitoring, RNM, is still of particular interest in the modern age. A way to send coded signals to the brain
I'm going to
from a
bed in a
distance.
little while. What
Two-way
time is it anyway?
RNM
I gotta be honest, I'm not
is also
sleepy
a
right now.
present field of study. Dr.
But I
Eldon
got
Byrne,
shit to
a
do in the
CIA
morning. I got shit to do
scientist,
every morning.
worked for the Naval Surface Weapons Office on
Like I
various
said,
methods
I'm
of
unemployed.
riot
Shit.
control, clandestine operations, hostage removal with electromagnetic
But I think that's
devices
that'll be
long
taken
after
care of
MK
soon.
Ultra was closed. It is
I don't worry
believed to
about
have
nothing
been
in this life. I
replaced
mean,
with Operation
I'm a
Pandora,
true
studying the effects of low
a true man of
intensity
God.
microwave signals in
Let's
relation
put
to
it
the
like that.
so-called Moscow signal. Holdovers from the
Make sure
MK
y'all hit
Ultra
me anyway
years
when I'm just
include
talking.
MK Chickwit, a
I don't want
program
to be
to
fucking around me
identify
talking.
new
Y'all can't hear me
advances
or the
in Asian
recording.
and European drug experimentation. Project Satan resided 18 floors beneath the Plattsburgh Air Force Base in northeast New York. Its
Hey man,
closure
you
date
know,
is
it says
unclear,
16
but the
people in
strange
here, man.
program
If it
conducted
is, man,
trauma-based
hit that like
experiments
button for me,
using
man. Well, the heart
perceived
button.
satanic colors,
Heart the
use of the
video.
occult, and
Hit
common
the share
satanic
button and shit,
symbols.
man. I be
Racist
feeling like a lot of
ideologies
times,
were
man. I be
drummed
feeling like
into
I'm just
child
doing this shit for
subjects
nothing
there
and
for an
shit. It ain't like I get
unknown
paid for this and shit. This
Once
shit costs
closed
me
in
money.
its early
I pay for
incarnations,
premium. I
MK
pay
Ultra
for
took on new
Audible. I
identities
buy these
under a
fucking
host of
audio
new
books and I
names
buy
well
this
into the
material to
1970s.
get it to you
The
guys and
successor to
shit.
MK Ultra was MK Naomi, specializing in biological warfare items and practices, including wartime agents that could kill or incapacitate a
My
subject
audio so
at
low.
a moderate distance. No evidence points to the U.S. currently experimenting with neurotechnology for national security purposes, but the military remains committed to advancing the field and is still the primary funder of various scientific research and experimentation funding, most notably engineering and computer science. The Army receives $55 million per year, while the Navy receives $34 million and the Air Force $24 million to pursue neuroscientific research. Of course, conspiracy theorists continue to claim that MK Ultra was never truly discontinued. After its official termination
think it
date
was
in
truly ever discontinued
1973,
either.
Operation Mockingbird
In what
emerged.
world
A theory
do
is
bad
held by
people
some
or
that CIA
people
employees were smuggled
in
into
power
editorial offices and
ever
television
truly
studios of major
give
media
up that
houses
power?
to influence public opinion?
That's
One of the
just not
darkest
realistic.
chapters suspected of the operation speaks of prostitution rings for minors living under mind control, serving as sex slaves for powerful elites. What is clear is that the normally benevolent roles of Western medical practitioners were upended, and under the auspices of MK Ultra, they were dominated by a disregard for the individual human subject.
Did y'all just hear
This
that
was true
part
in
that they
both the
just said
United
about
States and Canada,
prostitution
where
ring
mental
for
health
minors?
professionals reached high positions with grisly or apathetic views of the human as an object of study. Among
You know,
them was
I don't know
Canadian
how informed
psychiatrist Dr.
everybody
George
is, but for
Chisholm,
me,
who claimed
it's
that
like,
only
man,
societally
it's gotten to the
ingrained
point to
moral
where it's
codes
not hard at
control
all
human behavior,
to
and
start
that the
putting one and
psychiatric
one
world
together and
should
shit,
work to break them down.
especially in
According
regard to our
Chisholm,
government
the
or the people who
reinterpretation,
pretend to
the
be our
eventual
government,
eradication of the
especially in
concept of
regard to
right
the
and
people that's
wrong
in control,
are the belated objectives of
especially in
behavioral
regard to, hell, the
psychotherapy.
state of Israel and its occupants
Speaker,
in
Chisholm
general.
announced that in order to achieve one world government,
It's like,
it
at
is
what
necessary
point are we
to
going
remove from the
to
minds of
stop
men
ignoring what's
their
right in front of our
individualism,
face?
loyalty to their traditions, and national identifications.
All this shit
Chisholm
come from them.
embraced
All
the
this shit
belief
leads
that
to
in
them.
setting
When you start
concepts of
following the
right and
money
wrong,
trail, when
love
you
of
start
country,
following the
and
breadcrumbs,
morality in
it
treatment
always
by
leads to
their
the
parents
same group of
is the
people.
paramount evil.
The same group of
Through
people.
all of this, Chisholm led a highly decorated career,
That's
serving
amazing to
as
me.
the Director General of the World Health Organization and the 13th Canadian Surgeon General. He was the recipient of the Order of Canada, Order of the British Empire, and the Military Cross. Between his retirement and his death at the age of 80
I wanna see
in
something real quick.
1999, Gottlieb finished.
I'm sorry. I just muted the audio for one quick second. I just wanted to see how much of a difference it would make in the clarity in my voice and shit. Because then I don't know.
His favorite hobbies, folk dancing and raising goats.
And now I kind of want
Gottlieb's
to
life story
hear
is one of
it
the
at
few aspects
like
of the
full
project
blast. Y'all
known
don't
for
mind
sure,
me, but I do got to
because
test out a few
tracking
things and
MK
shit.
Ultra's many name changes and supposed expiration dates
So when
continues
I
to be
do
difficult.
decide to start
The
taking this
Freedom
shit
of
serious and
Information
making actual
Act is
episodes,
beneficial for research of former eras, but in many cases, the lack of CIA records and transparency has defeated the purpose of the legislation. And to trace funding, investigators must often deal with numerous
see, like, my
coded
voice not
and
loud enough
anonymous
for me.
sources, some fictitious.
I gotta adjust a few
Given what has
things.
been discovered of MK Ultra thus far,
Got
the
to
entire
adjust a few
scope of the
things.
operations may never be fully
See where
known.
we at.
You've been listening to Project MK Ultra, the history of the CIA's controversial human experimentation program.
Looks like we
by
done came to
Charles
the end of
River
this.
Editors, narrated by Colin Fluxman. Copyright 2022 by Charles River Editors. Production copyright by Charles River Editors.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This is not gonna be the last time that we listen to this and shit, because you guys are gonna see. You guys get to see, like full fledged. Like I be telling folks, like if I watch a movie, or if I read a book or whatever it is, I'll watch that movie over and over and over again. I'll read that book over and over again. Shit, I've read books up to like 7 times. I've watched movies up to like fucking 15, 20 times. Just because I felt like I missed out on too many important details. I don't know. God made my mind real just strange like that, to where I'm the type, I gotta know every detail. Like I'm the type of person who I've had panic attacks for the strangest reasons in the world. I've had panic attacks while driving, first of all. That's why I really don't drive no more. And had come to find out that the trigger was, the trigger that could send me into a panic attack was if the scenery changed too quick without me recognizing it, because my mind wants to know every single detail. So if it's something dramatic that I miss, my mind automatically just starts going to super paranoia, and I don't know. I got a weird brain, but it's the one God gave me, so I'm gonna make the best of this motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm glad that this that. Hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right? Because my natural disposition is that, you know, I'm always going to root for the small guy. I'm always going to root for the good guy. I'm always going to root for the little man. Right? And so in that sense, that's the part of me that like really roots for the most melanated people in the world. You know what I mean? And but outside of that, you know, just on an everyday basis, you know, I don't have no allegiance to like Africans. I don't look at Africans as like my long lost brothers and sisters. Hell no, I know accurate history. I look at them, that's the long lost offspring of the original enemies. That's the offspring of the motherfucker who sold the original tribes into slavery and shit. That bloodline ain't good. Them ain't no motherfucking allies or friends. That's why they black Americans and Africans don't get along, because we ain't them. That shit is genetic. That's why so many black people in America don't get along. That's why black on black crime is so bad, because, you know, we lump together as one when in reality we not one. You got a whole lot of like warring tribes intermingled and cramped amongst each other. They've even done experiments on like rats and shit to find out what happens when you overpopulate an area. And that's how it is like in the black community. Folks don't realize that they overpopulated and everybody is right on top of each other. So it's always gonna be conflict, and it's always gonna be that dog eat dog mentality and shit. But you know, you can't explain that shit to motherfuckers and shit. Especially, I'm not gonna lie, especially when I be trying to talk with my people and have them kind of conversations. Man, that shit worse than pulling teeth. I gotta find out. Everybody got a video like that. Keep on talking. Turn this off. I gotta look at that. 7 minutes ago, Fox 11. Elon Musk is out. Breaking news, everybody.
We're tracking a major shakeup out of the White House. Elon Musk is out as a top advisor to President Trump. On his platform X, Musk said his role as a special government employee has ended. He thanked Trump, but criticized.
I want to say something before I continue with that article, right? And a lot of people are not going to like this and shit, but I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't give a fuck what you like. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And this is for all of my conservative followers. You know, I'm super conservative. And I've definitely been a Trump supporter over all these past years and shit, through all the bullshit. But something that I should be trying to warn y'all about, especially I should try to warn like liberals and black folks and shit about, is that y'all need to pay attention to what's going on, because what a lot of folks didn't understand was you were forcing Trump to have to go to the enemy and shit, because there was a lot of folks that was clapping and cheering on that fucking madness that went on in the courtrooms when they was when they was stripping his wealth down to the bone. See, that's a tactic of theirs. You know, two of they number one tactic, those people who I'm always talking about, two of their number one tactics, they main tactics are they gonna hit you with like sexual assault shit, or you gonna get accused of diddling a kid or some shit. You know, they gonna hit you in the perversion area. And they gonna hit you in your pockets and shit. Look at how they did Kanye. Look at how they did Kyrie Irving. Look at how they be trying. Look at the shit that they try to do with Candace Owens and all that. Same motherfucking people. Look what they did to motherfucking Michael Jackson, if we gonna keep it 100% honest. Look what they did to Whitney Houston. Look what they did to a whole lot of motherfuckers. Same group of fucking people. And they use the same fucking tactics. First, they're gonna tarnish your motherfucking name. They're gonna make everybody around you shun you and push you away. They try to get you to hurt yourselves. They want to break you down. They want to break down your image. They break down your name. They break down your wealth. That's why if you ain't got no real foundation in there, man, fuck with these people in this life, in this world, man, shit, you won't make it. And I say this because I really hope that most of you who sat here listening to Project MK Ultra, I really hope you guys are paying attention and we're listening to who's truly responsible for that. Where we get all of this psychological warfare and bullshit psychology and all of that. It's the same fucking people. But I don't want to jump too far offhand. This is what I'm saying. To all of my fellow Trump supporters and conservatives, I hope that you guys are aware of the fact that for the most part, overall, as far as the big picture goes, I hope you guys know that Trump is really no good for us no more. I hope you know that his part in the movement is gone. They got him. Trump has been and is being bought out by the establishment. They put him in a position where he had no choice. They hit him with the bogus ass criminal charges and shit. They hit it, but they broke him down. And they broke him down in front of everybody. And that's what bothered me the most at the folks on the left, is that they were so blinded by hatred and propaganda and everything that they couldn't see the big picture. And the moment I saw him give that speech at APAC, I knew they had him. I knew they got him. They got him. President Trump will be of no use to the movement anymore. And anybody who don't agree, you're either uninformed or you just in denial. But the establishment, they have control over President Trump now. They got RFK from the get-go. You see how all of them get in there? You see how all of them get in there and somehow they all bend to the will of Israel? They all bend to the will of Israeli Zionists. They all bend to the will of Israeli lobbyists. Every fucking politician that gets in there, you got a few outliers, a few that'll fight, that'll speak out. But their voices are small. Any man capable of controlling the people, manipulating the people, any man capable of galvanizing the nation, they gonna take him out or they gonna turn him. They tried to take him out twice, they couldn't get him. They kept trying to buy him. He's like, man, fuck y'all, I got money. And then they finally figured out, oh shit, the fake rape cases can't stop him. The assassination attempts can't stop him. Let's break this motherfucker. We'll make him come to us. We ain't gotta keep chasing him. I saw the whole play written out, man. I swear, and that's why it was so frustrating to watch this entire election cycle and the time before, after, and in between. Shit. The shit been devastating to watch because a long time ago I saw this shit happening. As this time goes, and the sad part about this shit is that they've gotten to Trump so early in his presidency. Have you guys not noticed how his stance and how his relationship with Putin has changed? For those who don't know, yeah, Putin is the good guy. Real, for you niggas that don't know, I've been telling y'all for the longest time. Them motherfuckers in history, throughout history, who y'all think are the bad guys, no. I keep it on my profile. The good guys did not win World War II. I don't know why I'm talking about that shit. I'd rather get into some old niggerish shit. Some old niggerish shit. So I'm finna see what's going on YouTube in a minute. But first, let's listen to Fox report to us how Elon Musk is out, because he see that, man, this ain't the same Trump. They got him. Instead, Trump doing shit, man. We got to be honest. He adding to the deficit and shit. He doing what them folks over there, the ones who do all the bad shit to kids, but everybody want to act like they don't see what's going on because all the traffic and all that shit follow the money. It all follows to them same motherfucking people. Damn near everything evil in this world, it seems like it's rooted in them fucking people. I can literally sit up here as a God-fearing man, as a man who tell you all the time how much I love every individual. I can sit up here with a straight face and tell you, hell yeah, I can see why everybody in history has tried to get rid of them fucking people. And unfortunately for us, we got conquered by them. America is an occupied country. And it's occupied by Jews. Jewish Zionists to be specific. They've been here. They've been here. Before your mama, before you, me, they've been laying their groundwork down. They damn near, this is their country. Why do you think every year, no matter how much technology we get, no matter how much shit get shinier and prettier, every year life gets tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. And y'all still ain't put it together. They putting the squeeze on, dog. Slowly but surely, they changing this motherfucker into exactly what they want it to be. Why do you think all of our goddamn taxes go to them? This is they shit. That's why I laugh at any motherfucker who always talking about, man, it's the white man world. White man this, white man this. I got news for you, Whitey, if you ain't figured it out. Nigga, you don't run shit. You don't run, you the underboss. You the underboss, and the only reason the Jews let you be the underboss is because they can blame everything on you. You the face of this shit, not knowing that they goddammit Jews got their boot on a white boy neck just as well. I know real history. I know real history. I done seen the proof. I done seen the white folks in the field picking cotton. I done seen white folks with whips on their motherfucking back. But let's get to this report about Elon leaving President Trump. Elon is fucked, whether y'all know it or not, man. Elon fucked. Sadly, we're going to witness his real downfall, man, and that's so fucked up, man. Because he don't deserve it, because he a weird motherfucker and he's super arrogant. But at his core, he's a good dude. He ain't evil.
His legislative agenda, including
but
the big beautiful
he gonna
bill.
fall and he gonna
White House
crash and burn in the end.
Musk's departure. Tesla is set to launch its robo-taxi service in Austin on June 12th. The company recently tested a driverless Model Y on public roads with an engineer in the passenger seat. CEO Elon Musk says this marks a major step toward Tesla's future in autonomous vehicles. The service will start with 10 robo-taxis, could expand to 1,000 within months. New tonight, the U.S. is leaning into Bitcoin as China bans it. Vice President J.D. Vance says Bitcoin
the world
could be a key
is moving so
strategic
fast
asset for America over the next
in a crazy direction,
Crypto is a
and it's
hedge
shaped.
against bad policy making from Washington, no matter what party's in control. It's a hedge
It's
against
shaped to look like we
skyrocketing
headed in a
inflation,
good
which has
direction
eroded
as far
the
as
real
technology,
savings
but
rate
y'all
of
don't see, man, we
Americans over the
headed,
last 4 years.
man, we headed towards our
At the Las
end
Vegas
fast
Bitcoin
as fuck and
Conference,
shit. Like,
Vance backed Trump's call for a
I'm
national
honestly
Bitcoin reserve.
starting
Trump
to
spoke
worry
at the
that
Bitcoin conference last year.
we're
Congress is debating
quickly
new crypto
approaching
rules as lobbying
the
surges.
end of
China
this
still bans
civilization.
Bitcoin, but that could change. Bitcoin closed at $108,000
The Western world,
That's up 13%
as it's been
just this
for
month.
certainly, is about to
Up
take a
next,
whole
movie deals
total
for just
shift.
$1.75.
Because Africa is
Nights
now in
at the
play.
Stars,
Africa is
live
in
jazz
play
that
now.
won't cost you
And that's
dime.
where the entire
Follow
Western
Valentine's
world gets
with
its
top summer
resources.
picks for
Without
families,
Africa,
couples, and
there would be no
everyone.
America, no Canada, no Mexico, no man, no a lot of this shit.
Elon Musk's relationship with the federal
All our
government
technology
is
and all that, we get all our motherfucking resources and minerals and shit,
This
whether you
comes after
motherfuckers
a
know it,
turbulent
from
effort to
Africa.
slash the government on a lot of different levels. He mentioned he'd be stepping away from his Doge
And now
post soon
Africa
and
is
criticized the
slowly,
massive budget
and I won't
bill
even say
passed by the
slowly,
House last week.
quickly
I was like
becoming empowered.
disappointed to see the massive
Black folks, I hope y'all
spending
know they
vote,
don't
frankly.
give no fuck about no
Which
American
increases the
niggas.
budget deficit, not just decrease it,
Mhm.
and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
The bill is expected to add more than $3 trillion to the deficit spending over the next decade. Though Musk hoped that Doge would generate $1 trillion in cuts, he's fallen short of that, cutting about $175 billion. Musk telling the Washington Post the federal bureaucracy
yeah, man,
situation
the
is
only
actually
reason I
worse
even,
than he thought once he got to see it up close.
Watching this right now, even showing y'all that, it's really because of like I said, man, the Trump dream is over. We've gotten as much as we're gonna get out of
On September
President
8,
Trump.
2024,
He's one of them now, and
officers
a
with
lot
the
of people
Santa Fe
gonna have
Police
to
Department
accept
in New
that.
Mexico
You know,
were
we.
dispatched to a
I'm
local
pretty sure he
McDonald's
ain't
in
gonna
reference
just
to a
completely
stolen
lose his
Jeep
conscience
Cherokee. What the suspect
overnight,
didn't
but
know was that
understand
he was
that
being tracked
we
by
gonna
the
do
owner
what
via
they
an
say
Apple
do.
AirTag. But that didn't stop him from turning the last day of Santa
He's
Fe's
theirs now.
largest celebration, Fiesta de Santa Fe, into complete tragedy.
Vehicles fleeing North St. Francis. Okay, I'm just gonna 22. He's already starting to get a little red.
Y'all don't mind me. I'm just looking at what I want to watch, how I'm gonna entertain myself. Man, I hate how plastic y'all done became. And when I say that, how plastic y'all became, I mean like the content creators, man. You motherfuckers make any headline up that you can just to get clicks and shit. It's like all y'all done sold y'all booty hole. Like everybody just turned on a camera, opened their booty hole up and pointed it to the internet for whoever wanted to pay for it. It's like, man, y'all motherfuckers, everybody be talking all that loyalty shit, how they solid and this and that. And it's like, nigga, no, you ain't. You ain't none of that shit that you say you is. You ain't none of that shit that you think you are. Because your integrity show, bro, how you move. Look how y'all be moving, dog. I'll never do none of that goofy ass shit for likes and shit, man. Charleston done been bought too. That little Jew Aiden bought him. He played gay games, all that shit now. That white boy wearing them on down. Excuse me, sorry white folks, I don't mean to call him white boy. The little Jew done wore him down. What? Tigers in Africa.
Putting two tigers on the African savannah is like bringing them to a buffet, where they can bite and kill any animal they want. From zebras to antelopes and warthogs. Possessing both strength and speed, they killed a whole carload of antelopes in just one day. This is a crazy animal experiment, and a terrible case of species invasion. It's well known that there are no wild tigers in Africa. Asians are their only habitat. Due to human hunting and environmental destruction, the global population of wild tigers has been decreasing, with only around 3,800 left. John and David started a crazy experiment to save this species by bringing two Bengal tigers to Africa, to train them for survival in the wild, and eventually let them live independently in Africa, and multiply in this wildlife paradise. Ron and Julie are a pair of 7-month-old siblings, who were originally raised by humans. When they first arrived in Africa, Ron weighed 50 kilograms. while Julie weighed only 40 kilograms. David, as a zookeeper, has to wear many hats. He is not just a zookeeper, but also a parent. David takes the tigers out into the wild to let them experience the feeling of freedom. However,
Man,
to prevent the two tigers from misbehaving, David brings out a piece of meat at the right time to make them obedient. When they reach an open area, Ron and Julie catch a set of antelopes. Their natural instincts make them want to hunt. They chase after antelopes several times larger than themselves. The young tigers are fearless.
So dumb, man. It's so easy to trick you
When they see a bigger water buffalo, they know that a 900 kilograms water buffalo is not a vegetarian. They are not afraid of even lions, let alone two young tigers. They are scared off and run back to David when they encounter the water buffalo. Africa is indeed a dangerous place. Passing by a pond, they see a dead zebra. Ron and Julie curiously walk over and immediately bite the zebra's neck and mouth. David is surprised by the scene because it is a hunting method unique to the feline family, and no one has taught them. They are just born with it. But soon the two little ones start playing, completely ignoring the fact that it could have been a big meal. They seem to be used to being fed by others. The next day, they see a group of zebras not far away. The tigers lower their bodies and slowly approach, suddenly launching a surprise attack on the zebras. Although it is impossible to succeed, they have mastered the basic hunting skills. Maybe when they grow up a little more, they will have a chance to succeed. It is the first time the zebras have seen such a creature as a tiger, and their faces show fear. After the hunt, Julie's jaw is injured. David quickly finds medicine to treat it. In Africa's hot climate, if wounds are not treated promptly, they can become infected and even lead to death. As time passes, Ron and Julie are now 8 months old. Among all the feline animals, tigers love water the most. They get restless if they don't soak in water for a day when the weather is hot. As they grow older, it is time for them to learn new skills.
Hopefully y'all can hear me a whole lot clearer
practice
now.
targets for tigers. When the tigers see the warthog, they charge straight towards it, scaring it back into its hole. Ron and Julie's performance has improved significantly, but unfortunately, it is the rainy season. In just a few days, after the heavy rain, floods begin to rise, and everything around them is submerged. Even the local residents cannot escape. This is a once-in-a-century heavy rain, and they are forced to evacuate the camp and move to a place 480 kilometers away. The terrain here is wide and open, with relatively sparse trees. It's not a good hunting ground for tigers as there is no cover. In the distance, there is a herd of large antelopes. Without any cover, Ron and Julie quickly rushed towards them. Obviously, this was going to be very difficult. They did not realize that hunting was essential for survival.
Turn that shit down, son, because I know this video line.
Realistic jumping antelope for the tigers to practice their hunting skills on. Ron quickly became interested in the jumping antelope and was soon chasing after it. Although the movements were a bit awkward, they eventually passed the test. To make the tigers associate hunting with food,
Yeah, and I want to turn it down because I'm talking about a whole bunch of nothing. Tony Baker playing Black Ops 6. I can't play Black Ops 6 right now because I had to change my security information. And when you change it for 30 days, you can't get into certain shit. And so I can't redeem my rewards, which I use to pay for my Game Pass Ultimate. So I'm kind of fucked up in the game. And I guess Tony Baker ain't on shit. Legendary fights Hulk versus Magneto. Must be weak because it only got 531 views. What's this animal battle they talk about? Man, I'm up and I'm bored in the motherfucker. I'm gonna check out Craig Facts podcast. I fuck with Craig. Y'all make sure y'all go over to Craig Facts YouTube channel and shit. It's Craig Smith, man. Hold on. Matter of fact, I want to go to his channel real quick so y'all can see it. Man, Craig Smith, man. Craig a solid motherfucker, man. He funny and shit, man. Y'all make sure y'all go check Craig out, man. Man, decent human beings gotta start supporting decent human beings. How do you think that you get good shit popular again? All this fucking negative and evil ass shit is popular because that's the shit that y'all supporting. Yeah.
You hate criticism. You let a man cartwheel and punch you and said you wasn't living with him. They show out around you, won't do a thing about it. Thugging and harmonizing, watch them sing about it. You have a white mind. You think blacks are lazy and mixing Kool-Aid with they white wine. And that's the thing about it. Can't even talk to you. Ghost of a real nigga. Watch me walk through you. You fight your girl, man. Cuss out the mailman. Go to jail and become a trail man. And that's the thing about it. God dropped you a breath mint out the sky, said, take this, and I'll think about it. Bitch, nigga.
Yeah, I tell Dark, you fucking. I know this girl that recently.
Make sure I hit the like button.
Raise money for an abortion.
Now I gotta turn that music off
9 months pregnant.
real quick, y'all.
I showed
That's probably what's fucking with
How
the.
the fuck you gonna throw a party to raise money
Yeah.
to get rid of a baby that you're about to have? And her response was, I'm keeping this baby. The money's for next time. Which is proof that if you put your mind to it, you can be the change you need.
Good morning.
Do you astral project?
Do I what?
Astral project.
What are you talking about?
Last night, I felt your spirit leave your body and choke me.
No, you didn't.
Slap me, kick me. This was like a mixed martial arts spirit. It was like a violent Holy Ghost.
Don't bring the Holy Ghost into this.
Who would ever thought the Holy Ghost wasn't so Holy Ghosts?
Ain't that happy? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just, it ain't even a mood because I'm in a great mood. I just don't give a fuck about nothing right now. You know what I'm talking about?
That's that level right there. When
Maybe
you happy,
I
don't
smoked
give
a
a fuck.
cigar the other day. Maybe it was too strong. I'm having lingering effects.
2 days later?
But right now, I don't give a fuck. But like if I was choking on some food right now and y'all tried to save me, I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm ready to die. I don't give a fuck about nothing. Just let me choke to death, nigga. Shit.
Actually, you know.
In peace. Can I choke to death in peace, nigga? No, I'm playing.
That's a syndrome.
Yeah.
That's called the Tupac syndrome. A lot of people don't know about that.
Let me get rid of myself.
I don't care no more.
Could you imagine going to a hitman and you paying him to kill you? You're like, hey, man, I got something for you. You slide it to him.
He's got
you pull out the envelope and
Y'all gotta give me a minute. I gotta go put me a dab together.
Me. On top of say me.
So you pull the gun out, put it to your head. Not now, in 6 months.
Yeah. Give me 6 months.
The day before he's supposed to kill you, you always back out of it. Keep the 10 grand. You done backed out so many times, the prices went up.
I ain't gonna lie, I just got an idea from Craig that I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna start slipping little pieces of content inside of these live streams and shit here and there until I do actually kick the podcast off.
I'm a dark comedian.
I think that'll go a long way, man, and it'll help me probably like build an audience, build my audience and shit with my type of humor. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I got a dark, stupid sense of humor, but I just don't be wanting to offend black people. But I'm stupid, man. On real. I don't give a fuck about shit like blackface. I be wanting to do so many blackface skits with these white folks. Oh man. But everybody's so fucking sensitive nowadays. Even the white folks be scared. No, scary motherfucker.
I see like a cripple and I start laughing.
That's called.
Like man, how you think we get to love each other? Dog? We gotta laugh. Shit. I'm with all the jokes.
We talking about fuck it.
But I gotta go put this dab together, like I said.
It's funny, but it's fucked up, but it's still funny.
Okay.
Somebody that has obvious something wrong with them. They could be a midget. They could be missing a leg.
Right.
Something obvious, a gray eyebrow, something that's just a little bit different.
About to get canceled.
You know, don't talk about them because that's disrespectful.
Blah, blah,
Just
blah, blah,
laugh
blah, blah.
loud as fuck. And watch them just turn. Like they always think.
Hold up.
They waiting for it.
You're like, how you see my eyebrow from there?
Talk about me.
They gonna turn and look over that shoulder, and every time they turn back to face Do
This sounds like something you've done before.
I've done it.
I had a great time. Huh?
I don't know what it is. When something's different about you, you gotta embrace it, man.
Why not? What else
Even when you
do?
think weird, like I've been thinking the last hour, you just embrace that shit.
You been thinking like this for an hour?
Yeah, I ate a buffalo burger.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, that'll do
I
it.
ate a buffalo burger. That you know what I'm saying?
An onion ring on it?
I think buffaloes might be mad that there's not enough. There ain't a lot of buffaloes no more.
I thought you was buffalo chicken sandwich. You talking about buffalo meat?
I ate real buffalo meat, not buffalo chicken. No, I ate a buffalo.
Oh, hell no.
You haven't had a buffalo burger?
That's just the best.
Why is y'all eating
It's
buffalo?
like it's a cow.
Yeah.
It's a cow.
not.
Is a buffalo a cow?
Yeah, it's a cow.
No, it's not.
It's
I
sort
don't
of
think
a cow.
buffalo's a
No, yeah,
cow.
It's from the cow family.
It's a
from the cow.
buffalo, but it's in the cow family.
Yeah, it's like a big
I don't
cow.
think so.
Cows are like domesticated. Like it's like wolves and dogs.
But I
Cows
think
are what
cows
buffaloes
are
used to be.
man-made. I think cows are like most
Yeah, but
dogs.
dogs are
from
man-made.
buffaloes.
That's what I'm saying. But buffaloes are made in nature. I don't
Right.
think that two humans got together and bred two different types of things to create a buffalo. But I think a cow, that's how a cow was created.
Yeah, that's, what he's saying.
buffalo.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
He right though.
Oxen?
Probably.
Something. It's something.
right.
The cow is not a natural animal in nature. Man bred the cow. Same way we bred the chicken.
They can have something.
Prove to me
I'm gonna tell you. I can prove this to you. They got. You ever heard of American Wagyu? The meat.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm like,
beef.
nigga, what? That's a movie? Okay.
So, no, it's also a fighting style. But when it's not a fighting style, it's a
American Wagyu.
Nigga, American Wagyu.
About to get his ass beat.
Okay, wait.
Uh-oh.
Yes, it's possible for a bison, often called buffalo in North America, to impregnate a cow.
What are the origins of cows?
I'll search that, but I told you, motherfucker.
I didn't know that.
An American bison is basically the Wagyu from the one from China mixed with an American one to make it bigger, so they get more meat out of it. But it's still
The bisons that the white people damn near killed into extinction are a mixture of Chinese Wagyu. Is that what you're saying?
no American Wagyu. The beef right now is a mix of Chinese Wagyu and an American oxen.
Okay.
Because the Chinese Wagyu is a little skinny.
Right.
So they mixed it with that joint so it could be bigger.
Okay, there's a lot of information, and I'm not sure if I'm the correct person to read all this shit.
You don't know all the words.
There's a lot of words.
So he tried it in his mind and failed.
Picture right here. You get that.
Wagyu.
What? You want to enlarge it?
Is that in there? Oh, okay. Cattle, including the cows. Cows, we know.
Shit.
Hold on.
They turn it to busy bone.
Hold on, I got it.
He got an education.
Hold on. I forgot how I was supposed to read it.
Take your time. Take your time.
That's crazy.
Fuck
Like
these
reading
guys.
in church. Take your time.
This one right here.
That's
This one.
crazy.
Cattle, including the cow, as we know, are believed to have. I'm doing him. Believed to have originated from the domestication.
Anybody want
of
to test the
Anrox,
stone?
a wild
They
species
took
of bovine
Jesus,
approximately 10,000 years old.
It's
crazy.
Get in the game.
Okay, so yeah, it was
Tell
brilliant.
me what.
Imagine being that dude. You say, you know what, man?
Anybody tell me why?
I want to teach
I'm a watch.
Right.
That shit got me thinking about that. Motherfucking song, boy. I was growing up, Bone was the shit. Boy, Bone was
Double cheeseburger, the triple cheese.
coming out with music that niggas can relate to, boy. Especially for Mickey at the crossroads.
I mean, yeah.
All my black folks, if it's any of them that's even watching, because black folks don't support shit.
This particular side.
I got like a few conservative brothers that support, but outside of that, black folks don't support.
That's for your offspring, but that's not like.
Well, you.
But for the couple, for the one black dude that's in here, shit, man, you remember that motherfucking gangster lean?
Animals are used for more than just eating too.
This is for my homemade.
Combine them. This horse, you know.
This is for my homies. Well,
Size of a regular horse.
see you when I get there. In that gangster lean, that gangster lean. I gotta look. I'm gonna look that video up. Yeah, we finna gangster lean in this bitch.
Like a dinosaur, bro.
Have you guys seen a moose in real life?
Rest in peace to my
Not in real life,
cousin.
but I've seen it in
Tony
comparison.
Rome,
Shit,
man.
It's pretty scary.
This shit is scary.
It's
We
like
went through Arizona.
Man, I got a couple cousins, man, who done got killed out in
Arizona,
them
you,
streets, man.
it's like
Them
a drive-through
motherfucking
zoo.
murders is unsolved.
Maybe
One of them not
Arizona.
really unsolved. Motherfuckers know who did that shit, but
Like it's like
that shit is difficult
It's in Arizona, yeah. And you
to
drive
even
through the shit,
explain.
they got the
So
wolves and,
why even try? But man, that shit be
Well,
fucked up,
not a
though.
moose, a fucking
Burying your motherfucking
our
loved
big, but what
ones
we
and
saw
shit,
were
man. You
fucking,
motherfuckers who you just knew.
I can't remember what the
Y'all was gonna
We were talking about moose.
We were talking about
be old niggas together and shit, man. Burying motherfuckers who you used to play with, know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers who done been with you since the sandbox.
Somewhat, basically. Yeah, when I was in college, we had a
You know what I'm saying? And what killed me with everybody nowadays, especially with black folks, man, it's like we too used to that shit, man. Motherfuckers be dying and motherfuckers just be go back to like regular life the next day and shit. It's like, man, if I lose one motherfucker, dog, I'm fucked up forever, nigga. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. When I tell you I love you, I mean that shit, nigga. When I tell a motherfucker I love him, I mean that shit, dog. I love you.
They say like,
I don't think that's why I say, man, human beings don't even love human beings no more. Black folks definitely don't love black folks.
In a plastic glove, dripping everywhere.
I was born 1981, so I lived through the 80s and shit when black folks still love each other. I know what black love look like and feel like. This shit right here, man, there ain't no love, no unity, no none of that shit, boy. I want to kill some of these niggas.
We did the artificial insemination.
Shit.
We really did that.
Let me stop, man. It's bad out here, boy. I know the powers that be. I know they making plans right now how they gonna deal with their nigga problem in America, because these niggas nowadays is man.
And you squeeze it in, and that's where you get it pregnant.
They a problem. They lost.
And then you had to have shit on your head. Just once. Everybody had to do it once.
And jump on the internet talking about that the white man oppressing them. Like, nigga, what? Boy, you the oppressor. You ain't figured that shit out, nigga.
Wow.
That's nasty, bro.
Yeah, we did that shit.
It was for class. So
It was for class.
He gets a pass.
Yeah. I would have did that shit for nothing else. I only been on a farm like twice, nigga. That shit was traumatizing.
Did you come back and see the baby get born?
Nah, I didn't. I couldn't look in her eye after that. I couldn't look the cow in his eye.
Brought the cow flowers when you came back?
Yeah, I was like,
playing
and I ain't bust.
Did you wait? You go for some cigarettes?
You bust in
I know y'all probably. I'm just over here doing that.
I'd have came back and watched it.
Have you ever taken out milk out of a cow?
No.
Yeah, we did that too.
Just over here doing my thing.
Luckily, we're in California.
Put it on Jeff Craig. Damn, man, my motherfucking rig leaking.
We shaped them up and all that. Niggas was giving them fades and everything.
That's why I be like keeping water in these bitches.
Just this one. Yeah, this one.
But I also don't be wanting to go through the process of having to put water in them every time I use them and shit. But that's what I might have to do. I'm probably gonna have to just slow my life completely down.
No, this is a college. This is University of
And
Maryland.
just start focusing on the intricate details and shit when it comes to
high school. I had to.
when it comes to most of this
You
shit.
can't get another animal pregnant before you're actually
But
fucking.
yeah, man, I gotta figure
That's like I
something
grew up
out,
with niggas who
man.
committed a murder before they had sex.
I think I'm about I ain't gonna lie. It's been rough.
Yeah, if they,
You know, financially around here, being unemployed.
I wouldn't.
But my wife, man, I'm just gonna keep it 100 and shit. I never wanted to be a man that have his motherfucking woman take care of him, but my wife been, you know, holding it down
But I was like
while I've been out of work
because of
and
the
shit,
farm,
man.
you
That
know, you
shit,
ride
boy.
horses, you do the whole thing, the whole shtick.
That shit hurt. I'm not gonna lie to you.
We kill a cow.
For real, that shit hurt, man. That shit hurt my motherfucker. That shit hurt my soul. Every second that go by.
Oh yeah.
And she got a hold of the motherfucking household down, boy. That shit. I was for real when I was telling y'all earlier and shit, boy. I have to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and give myself, you know what I'm saying, affirmations and shit to keep my head and my chin up high. So that no matter what, man, I be going through shit, man, especially goddamn it, mentally and emotionally and shit. But no matter what, I tell myself, no matter how much that shit might hurt right now, no matter how tired I might be, no matter how weak or low I might be at that moment, man, I always tell myself, hold my motherfucking head up high.
I mean, I don't know if it's on TV.
Because for all I know, man, I could lose every motherfucking thing in this world and shit. And the only thing that'll keep me surviving, goddamn it, is me. So I can't never lose
think the cow is the highest thing you can.
I can't never lose sight. I can't never lose focus. I can't never forget who the fuck I am.
Sudan, the Dinka people hold cattle beauty pageants.
And I am everything that I tell you motherfuckers that I am. I don't think that God made a better man.
High price at auction.
If he did, I don't know him.
Pageant.
That's something to get ready for.
Yeah, how do you
dress for that?
It's the same way you dress for the damn pitbull tournaments and shit.
I mean, it sounds like the Dinka people gonna put it on for this shit. They not just this ain't no regular day.
Would you do a dad pageant right now?
Dad pageant.
Like being a male beauty contest. Where,
Would you do a dad pageant? Hell yeah, I do anything that's associated with being a dad.
On dadism, like you're the crowd full of motherfuckers.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel good now, y'all. I definitely feel good. I ain't turn this motherfucking camera back on yet. Can't see that shit. All right, but I feel good in the bed.
Yeah.
Good in the
You bring
bed.
to the table as a father.
The whole shebang.
Bring your kid out there. Let's look at this motherfucker.
How would you do in a dad pageant?
How everybody doing, man? I hope everybody in good health, man, and good spirits, man. I want y'all to know, man, and I swear to God, it's the goddamn truth, man. No matter what you might be going through, man, when you feeling at your lowest and you feel, man, you ain't got nobody, man. I swear to God, you can talk to me. I won't turn you away. I won't ridicule you. I won't make fun of you and none of that shit. That don't mean that we ain't gonna crack no jokes now. Cause if some shit funny, we gonna laugh. We gonna laugh, even if the laugh is on you, nigga. Sometimes the joke is on you. Sometimes the joke on me, sometimes the joke on all of us, but we got to laugh. We can't ever forget to laugh.
Craig had it. He had it going on.
That's how we get through this shit, man. That's how we extend love.
The pacifier and
through our laughter.
He's a real dad motherfucker. He was
So we, man, don't. Y'all can't be forgetting to laugh.
But after like about 30, 45 minutes, shit started kind of going left. Blanket on the floor, motherfucker. He's standing up dancing with the baby and shit. Baby started making the
At the end of my little cart, this motherfucker about dry. Ooh, it's rough around this motherfucker here.
Oh my God.
Nah, Craig was on it. Craig was on it though.
Man.
He gonna be a good dad. Man.
My little homies now, they be hitting me up with all kind of shit that they got and shit. And I just be like, nah, I can't do shit right now, man. I'm unemployed and broke, bro.
Yeah, for sure. You know the one category that no niggas gonna win.
Unemployed and broke, bro. I done had to put off like my personal projects and shit because one of my projects that I got coming towards y'all is like my version of like the 20V ones and shit.
I like to see it around
I got
12 to 16. Right. There's a certain age you get to where your kids realize you ain't shit.
Right.
Yeah, talking back and shit.
I used to warn my brother. I said, look, hurry up, get that electrician shit together because right now he don't know how fucked up you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you can get it going, get the house, get the shit going, like by the time you're 10, 11,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And money don't mean shit to kids until they 12, 13.
When they learn that they friends, you ain't doing, they friends start telling you how poor they are.
Yeah.
Start telling you how poor you are, that's when it changed. Then you start realizing what your peoples don't got.
Yeah.
They come around 12, you be like,
You know when you start noticing? When you start like sleeping over in other people's houses.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, oh shit,
I noticed
this is a nice house.
I used to notice when that car pulled up.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, that's a what?
They made it to the
We
game.
had a hatchback Pontiac Lamaz, Mom. That's a whole Honda Accord.
My mom.
How are we doing worse than Honda Accord people? How are we doing worse than the motherfucking Honda, brother?
That would have been great.
I remember the first time I seen electric windows. I'm like,
I just got lost in thought thinking about it.
When I get my Uncle car, I just press a button.
Yeah.
My ass, man. I'm finna go play me another round of
one of the homies had more than
off
one
the grid, and then I'm
Nintendo
going to
game.
bed, man. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I'm gonna talk to y'all tomorrow, man. No, I might not jump on here tomorrow
People's games like the day before.
because I'm finna. I gotta go through. I gotta go start going through these drives and shit and filtering through content and shit. I gotta see what I got left and what needs to be scrapped. I got shit to do. But man, I appreciate y'all. Just coming to kick it and shit, man. And I swear to God, man, I meant what I said, man. I'm one of them people, man. If you ever need a goddamn ear, you ever need somebody to listen to you, you ever need somebody to read your text. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, man, especially for my motherfucking brothers and shit, man. I'm tired of like tough shit.
right, left,
being promoted all the time by everybody and shit. I'm tired of everybody always being tough. I'm tired of that shit, man. Like, man, we can't survive off toughness, nigga. We gotta have love somewhere. Y'all do know we gotta love each other, right? I'm tired of all that tough shit, man. So, as best as I can, man, I'm here to promote love, and I'm here to love my people.
You hit corner threes.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I extend to you, to everybody, man. Nothing but love. That's it. Nothing but love, my nigga. For real.
Oh, me
too. Nothing but love.
On the other system.
So, man, I appreciate everybody for coming through and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I had it on computer with Dr. J versus Larry Bird.
Hey, man.
You can break the backboard.
Y'all just keep showing up. Do me a favor. I was gonna say keep sharing my videos, but y'all don't be sharing my shit. Y'all don't do nothing and shit. But I ain't even tripping on that shit. You know what I'm saying? The old me would have been tripping on that shit, but the new me don't even get no fuck, man. I appreciate y'all for showing up here now. And I want you to know I love you. God bless you. Good night, nigga.
At the boys club, everybody knows the "Let me pass this level for you" kid.
Oh, you should do that?
Yeah, that was him.
Were you the first to figure out the all Yugen?
No, I was sorry. I didn't have no money. I'll lose and shit. Like, oh shit, man.
Yeah.
You're an imposter.
Yeah, you wasn't.